and start to becoming an attacking player.
100 forward for the Eagles. It's the match of the round. Enjoy it.
Power and Embley on the wing.
Street and Cox the ruckman. Cooney, Rosa there, dumped off it early. High one. Our umpires wide for sound. Brett Allen, Matt Stevick and Stephen Grun. As Rosa wants to go quickly for Wirrapunda. Grant onto him quickly, so he feeds the handball wide for Glass. Runs into Power, who couldn't make the tackle stick. This is Embley sending it towards the wing, but the Bulldogs have got the numbers. Rosa and Ray. Rosa did well to force the contest. West desperate, getting the handball out wide. Cooney wrapped up, should get a bounce. Umpire says keep going. Eagles prize it clear. Staker hits it to centre half forward. Hunter, who's got Hargrave alongside Morris. Hunter brings him down fairly a bounce.
Interesting one, Dale Morris, who does play tall. He's picking up Ben Cousins at the present time. He's got great pace, but what a challenge up against one of the form players of the competition.
A bounce, 45 out from the Eagles' goal. Skipper came over the top. Hunter emerges across to Cousins. And now Judd runs out of room. Tight angle, doesn't make great contact. Lynch overruns it. Hunter toe pokes it to a dangerous position, and Gilby, sensing the danger, concedes.
We're going to have to play some players short, and it looks like Gilby will be lining up on Staker. But not a lot of overhead marking these days, so pace, height can be a little bit deceptive, or the requirement for it.
Gilby, very short, but effective to cross. And the Bulldogs can build through half-back. Farron Ray, back in his home state, delivers awkwardly and errantly to the wing where Graham is perched. Comes inboard to Cox. Now the Eagles with some room through the corridor. Sting line, penetrating kick. Hunter from the side. Got hands to it. Schick immediately claimed. Spills out wide to Rosa. He couldn't take it. Now Gilby can relieve the pressure for the Bulldogs, and Hargraves is sent on his way.
Uses the support provided by Griffin, Ray, and now Power through the middle. Long kick in the Grant general direction. Glass. Banfield now slipping the tackle out wide for Glass. Johnson pursuing. Wirrapunda has a little bit of room, and that's all he needs. Cousins got it to Nikoski. Good sidestep. Goes back to the former skipper, and he drives a bullet into the midriff of Staker. Wants to go quickly. Good build-up, Eagles. Long ball. Lynch the target. Was he helped out of it? No. Stengline. Harris with a good tackle. And now the Bulldogs can go through Scotty West.
Has the bounce, looks inboard, kick is okay. Mark taken by Boyd, coming off a season best effort against the Brisbane Lions of 29 possessions.
And he's picking up Daniel Kerr.
Now Griffin, dangerous ball here for Banfield. Here's a chance for Johnson, got a foot to it. Does it stay in the field of play? No, it doesn't. Higgins was sweating on that. And the Bulldogs level things up early stages of the first quarter at Subiaco Oval.
And there's the ball just going over. Good camera work there, helping out the goal umpire. On the wing, we've got Scotty West matched up on Tyson Stengline. Both have had a little bit of the footy already.
So no surprise that matchup either, as Cox in the back pocket.
And Boyd running with Daniel Kerr at the moment, which has left Cooney with this man.
Judd, terrific overhead. Still for many in the Brownlow favourite category, despite missing 3 matches with the hamstring injury. Averaging 26 possessions a game before that. Shorts this one for Nikoski. In the shadows, right on the wing below us. Just slips away from Boyd. Wrong foot's West. He's one of the AFL's long kicking men, and he sends it up to the 50. But Chick is outmarked on this occasion by Griffin, who retreats to Harris. Can effect a switch. Cross. This is a good build-up if he can get it. He's got Gilby short. Uses him. Now, Gilby's got Gian Syracuse. Goes to him, and he's got space. Although Rosa closed quickly as you see him take the mark. Gian Syracuse to Robbins. This is a good build-up by the Dogs. Now the important ball. Robbins deep, top of the square. Cox does well to close in on Higgins. Knocks it down, and the Eagles away with Wirrapunda.
Crowd getting involved. They love seeing David Wirrapunda set free. Awkward bounce there for Staker.
They've made a change there. Staker is now got Boyd, but I'm not sure he's going to be his opponent. He's just helped out, and it's actually Gilby who peeled off to be involved in that last thrust forward. Is now going back to him. But Staker already presenting a bit of a problem. He's the lead-up player. The job that usually Ashley Hansen had been doing, particularly last year.
Michael Gardner prowls the boundary line. Here comes Morris.
He's run 100 metres.
Saw plenty of daylight and space in front of him. Forgot to bounce the football.
That's it.
Yet to get a goal in this match.
Yeah, right. He's following you. He's following you. 5 metres is allowed within you, mate. Play on.
Brett Allen making things patently clear to Mark Nikoski. Kick from Rosa. Spots Staker. About to sign a new 2-year deal along with the likes of Adam Selwood and Matt Rosa this week. The Eagles shoring up their future. Stingline kicks to half forward and Lynch looks for and finds the free kick.
They really are rotating some players through Chris Judd, the Bulldogs. At the moment, Daniel Cross is with him, and Cooney pushed forward, or pushed deep in defence, I should say.
So Quentin Lynch, 21 goals for the season. The distance within his capabilities. A thumping kick, just checks it to the top of the square. Hunter had the sit, he had the leap, and it was almost uncontested in the end.
Well, the emergence of Jamie Graham has really allowed this bloke to go down into the forward line when they play opposition sides with smallish forward lines, and he is delivering on more than his fair share of occasions. That's a great start. We've got Chick down there as well. He's a big-bodied player.
Directly in front, Hunter makes no mistake. The Eagles with their first of the afternoon.
Just a good fly all round. Was set up to the top of the square. I think a good kick in many respects by Quentin Lynch. And
Bulldogs didn't read it well.
They didn't. I think they were expecting the big man to go back and have a shot, as he has done in probably most of his career. But that was to the top of the square. And then you just got to realise, I think the whole competition will be looking at that and saying, Hunter, Hunter, Hunter.
Good way to start his 99th AFL game. 100 all going well next Saturday afternoon against Hawthorn at the MCG. The more immediate task at hand here is against the Dogs. Straight to Cooney to West. And short one there for Power, makes him work. Back to West, finds an opening, can go. He'll run all day, Scotty West. Delivers this one short for Boyd. Will he take on Cox on the mark? No.
That kick there almost emphasised the extra distance at this ground.
Perfect delivery there to Grant.
Yeah, I think Scotty West on most grounds would have launched that one into one of the forwards, but he knew that it was going to drop well short, so it was a pretty smart decision to drop it short, and then this kick can get in deep in behind the defence.
Chris Grant, the Bulldog games record holder against West Coast. This is his 25th match in his career against the Eagles. There's a change. Stephen Armstrong coming on for the first time, and an Eagle jumper hearing it from the crowd. Grant's been a straight shooter this year, 17 goals, 6. He should be able to convert from here, and he levels the scores. Fox Footy Sunday with you from Subiaco Oval, and I would say there's perhaps 200 Bulldog fans in the building, and that's just about it.
They've built themselves a kennel down at the end left of screen, the city end. And whilst we're waiting for the umpire to resume play, they've had the capacity, the Eagles, to take off one All-Australian in Daniel Kerr. In fact, he may not have been an All-Australian yet, but one has come onto the ground in Chad Fletcher.
Has been an international rules player, Daniel Kerr.
And a good one at that.
All tied up at Subiaco Oval. 1-1 apiece. Sunday afternoon football. Perfect conditions for football.
Play on.
Wasn't a great bounce in the middle. Allowed Cross to do the ruck work. Now West flips out the hand pass to Cooney. And the young guns away. Dangerous centering ball. Punta perched behind. Emily goes off the ground, smothered by Power. He gathers, kicks to full forward, drops short, and fortuitously, brilliantly read by Johnson at 15 metres out. Sam Power finished off the good work of a Shepherd with a dangerous ball inside 50.
Well, I think the first 10 minutes has indicated that the Bulldogs are here to play, they're here to win, and they're going to have a genuine crack at it. And they've turned this into as much of an athletic event as a man-on-man contest. They really have brought some runners.
Johnson looks for two inside a minute, and he provides it.
So as always, the West Coast on their home digs, they're going to have to provide plenty of energy if they're going to get over the top of the Western Bulldogs. They're a happy club at the moment, the Bulldogs. You get the feeling that they're really content and they're working well together.
If they can keep a full list between now and the end of the season, that's the question.
You mean a full half list?
Yeah.
But they're exciting to watch, as are the Eagles, so it should be a great afternoon.
The Bulldogs entering this match in the top 4 in the second half of the season for the first time in 7 years. And they begin it in good fashion. Back-to-back goals there, giving them the lead to a couple of veterans in Grant and Johnson. Street, the palm down ineffective. Stengline, likewise his handball going nowhere. Chick forcing it to Cousins. Clearance the Eagles. Here's Armstrong, the former Demon, delivering well for Lynch. And now he is within range to kick from about 51 metres out at left half forward.
Interesting, it was Daniel Chick running off the back of the square. Ryan Griffin was trying to prevent him from getting in there, but he got in there and he got first hands on it.
Here's the applause coming up as you see the replay. Michael Gardner is back. And the nigh on 40,000 lets you know what they feel as Lynch sends a bomb across the face of goal. Bulldogs don't concede a behind yet. It was dangerous. Still haven't. And now it's through for a rush behind. Some sort of reaction for the return of Michael Gardner.
There was a terrific reaction from everybody here, and I think the whole footy world want to see Michael Gardner just do his stuff on the ground.
No question, he's a talent. Just 6 possessions in that grand final performance at the MCG. That seems a long time ago. Lots of water has passed under the bridge.
I think that's got to be put into perspective. It was pretty clear he went into that match with a problem with his foot. And a fully fit Michael Gardner, I think, will be determined to make amends.
Cooney, indecisive, tackled high. Very fortunate, to say the least there. He was gone for all money. Correct decision, though. And so Cooney has to assess the options. Has got one short in cross. Inside the centre square. Coming up for his 4th disposal. And customary build-up here from the Bulldogs. Didn't go the required 15. And Gilby has to escape the clutches of Chick, which he does successfully. Hard on a lead was Robbins. No mark was taken. Sweeping hair pass intended for West. Robbed of it by Cousins. Support from Armstrong. Brilliant gather on the half volley. And Gardner's first touch is effective. Didn't go to 15, but the Eagles through Emily. Fletcher. Little 1-2. 60 from home. Chick. And Harris almost collide. And the Bulldogs defender does brilliantly.
Well, Daniel Chick,
free kick.
Daniel Chick gave it away just a little bit over-exuberant. He's got to be related to Arnold Schwarzenegger, I reckon, Chick. He's got a lot of predator in him, and he just patrols that forward line like most defenders patrol the defence.
And he'll be back, don't worry about that.
Move it on!
Here he is, Arnie.
Play on!
Harris feeds the hand pass off. Griffin, Harris, they work themselves into a spot of bother. Are they going to turn it over? Hargrave is caught, got to get rid of it. Does well, but Eagles Armstrong gets caught hard. Bulldogs a little indecisive there. Lynch to Emily. And from a matter of 25 metres out, should be able to put the Eagles back in front.
Well, this is superb bodywork by Andrew Embley, and you just think going forward into the finals, his ability to go into that deep forward line and kick goals is going to become a significant part in their success or otherwise.
Has kicked 16 goals for the season. The 25-year-old. This to put West Coast back on top. You hear the groans of the crowd as he wastes it wide to the right-hand side. We've seen some inaccurate goal kicking already in the AFL this weekend, and a paucity of good matches, it's fair to say, by way of their high-scoring nature. This might defy that trend this weekend as Montgomery juggles a beauty on the wing. Gets by Jones, delivers towards Grant. Eddie's bootlaces, couldn't bend down for it. Glass, good hands, got it to Banfield, and he finds Stingline.
Bulldogs by 4 points. Short to Butler, playing his first game of the season. Also was part of the grand final team of 2005. He gets it to Jones. Goal to go. Gian Siracusa came from behind. We're Punda in support. Gardner at ground level. The big man is back across to Judd. Ball to the advantage of Lynch. Off hands, not paid. Umpire in a good position. And the ball speared out to Farron Ray. And West under pressure, the Dogs inside the defensive 50. And Griffin pinpoints the pass right to the line.
They're under pressure, but they're playing darn good footy, the Western Bulldogs. They're providing a genuine opposition. I think a lot of people thinking that perhaps they'd be undermanned, but they just seem to find a way.
Highly skilled as well as Johnson goes to Ray. He's away now in space. After a bounce, an open forward line. Chips it short. Montgomery from behind. We're Punda with courage. A loose ball to be won here. Grant wrapped up. Squeezes the hand pass to Hargrave. Can the defender kick a goal? What's the bounce like? It's okay. The Bulldogs get their third.
Well, once again, against the trend of play to some degree, they rush that ball forward. Their ability to get it out of defence, I think, is up there with the best in the competition. And Wirrapunda needs to be applauded for that piece of play. Prevented the goal coming from a set mark, but it was Chris Grant at ground level that time that just set that one up.
A few Bulldog fans behind the goals down there are excited. Hargraves first, his fourth for the year, gives the Bulldogs a handy little 10-point lead. You have to enjoy that run to defence after you've kicked a goal. McMahon in the first 4 for the Bulldogs now. It's Gardner against Skipper Rucking. This is Butler clearing for the Eagles over the head of Fletcher. He might be able to run back onto it. He will. Boyd chasing him. Fletcher delivers for Lynch. Harris knew he was going to come back. Graham takes on the tackler. Feeds Stingline. Good build up. Kerr gets a look. Has a snap. Go to land short for Hunter. Waiting down, Staker goes without it. Well, the Bulldogs concede they do. Happy to rush it behind. Let's see if they bring it in quickly. They won't. It'll be Lindsay Gilbey, who uses the footy 20 times a game. Hits the target 87% of the time. That's number 1 with the boys from the Whitten Oval. And that's just an example there as he drills Eagleton.
Didn't have to move a muscle, Nathan Eagleton. He goes over the top and uses cross. And now Eagleton on that trusty left side. Drives long. Forward of the wing. And Skipper got the hand pass away. Rowan Jones took a long time. Brilliantly done by Johnson. In turn to Higgins. The Bulldogs away. Rowan Smith onto the ground. Gian Siracusa got paid the mark. Sport at the last moment. Now Glass has to be careful here. Stays in the field of play.
It's out. The goal umpire is called out. The goal umpire called out about 30 seconds ago.
The boundary's called it.
It will be a boundary throwing next to the behind post.
Called it. But no idea. He just blew the whistle.
I've said this before. The goal umpires need whistles, or we need 4 boundary umpires.
Well, the field umpire there indicating.
The players haven't got used to this yet. They don't know what's happening. There's no one there. Now they're starting to congregate.
It's more dangerous from a West Coast Eagles point of view. Some space forward of this contest. Gardner hooks it behind. Johnson was pushed off it, and Butler gets it by hand to Nikoski. To space. Staker lopes after it close to the line and in fact over it. It's a boundary umpire.
He's a mile away.
Not his fault. That's just the pace of this game of footy.
I think Rodney and Daniel during Siracusa obviously will be disappointed because they set that man up on Wirrapunda for a reason, and just sticky hands was required for him to get an easy shot at goal.
5:40 remaining opening term. We're about to tick into time on. McMahon barreled over by Judd. Got it off to Cross. Now West. Now Smith. Neat little pause there. Freed up Montgomery. He's got Gingham Syracuse, who's got this one. Too far out to score. Has men running for him. Good lead by Johnson. The kick is a beauty, and the Bulldogs can have 4 goals in a row if Johnson is straight here.
This will be a good challenge for young Nikoski. He's had a terrific season. He's building a reputation, but he's up against one of the elite players in the competition, and they're creating some space for him. So he's going to just have to read the play a little bit better than that occasion.
Johnson is number 4 in the AFL this year for goals. He's got his second today. The Bulldogs with 4 in a row.
Well, right now the Bulldogs are on fire. They've got just about a contribution from every player. They're running hard, and they're pretty content, I think, just in the fact that they've got nothing to lose. They're here to play a positive attacking game of footy, and they're creating goals, whereas the Eagles at the other end, I think, have had as many opportunities, but they haven't been able to get those goals as easily.
The Bulldogs slipping 15 points clear, closing in on quarter time here, less than 5 minutes to play.
Embley's gone forward and Morris has picked him up.
Skipper knocks it forward. Collision course with 3 players in action. Well, this is still clear. Across to Rowan Smith. He can go for home. It'll go right to the goal line. Free kick. It'll go to Glass, who was taken out of the contest illegally.
Front contact, play on.
So around the contest at the moment, the Dogs have got a couple in and under and a couple wide, and they are getting it out to players free, and they're just running it in to space.
That's Higgins coming off the ground, the first-year player, holding his right elbow, shoulder, very ginger there.
They cannot take a trick, the Western Bulldogs, can they? Amongst the knees, now a young man who's shown a lot of promise. He's coming off the ground. Eagleton from the congestion to the 50. Cooney was there, so too Selwood. Spills free again, and the Bulldogs a chance. Cooney mugged by Wirpunda. That's held in, and the umpire blows the whistle.
Another look at how Sean Higgins sustained the contact. The veteran Drew Banfield with a big hit and a fair one. Higgins down in the hands of the Traders.
Wide ball, Farron Ray and Stephen Armstrong. Ray first back to it, tries to get rid of his opponent. Well, that's almost holding the football. Doesn't matter, Armstrong gets clear. What a contest between 2 young players. Still it goes, the umpire waves them on, and Fletcher, the recipient, draws the man to Embley. In space, the vice-captain, after a bounce, goes for home. Wide of the mark, the captain is back, and he hasn't missed a beat. Christian.
Well, there's so many good things about that passage of play. Why don't we start at the start? And Stephen Armstrong, I think, is in the space of 10 seconds, he has won himself a legion of fans here in the West, because that passage of play was superb. And the other thing to notice there was, I reckon that would be a very nervous man standing. Chris Judd won out in the square. Ryan Griffin got his opportunity on Judd. There's a goal.
Just a superb contest between Ray and Armstrong. Ends with a Judd goal. Higgins continues to seek medical attention. Street and Cox. This game, everything we hope for right now. Selwood, good hands for Fletcher. Now Armstrong again, involved in his first game in an Eagle jumper, and finds Embley. Tick over, 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Poor ball inside 50. Harris slaps it on the cross. And now Boyd. Man to his right, he runs straight into Embley, who drags him down. Ray and Armstrong again. This time, Farron Ray wins out. Defers to McMahon. All Eagles at the fore here, Butler.
See, in the passage of one piece of play with Stephen Montgomery, there's been a change come over this game.
Kerr to centre half forward. Stingline caught behind, had to spoil. Gilby. Bulldogs got back in numbers, so West devoid of options downfield. Griffin, he loves taking them on. 2 bounces. He's 70 from home. 3 bounces. The lead provided by Robbins. Wirrapunda brings him down. Who will recover first? The janitor. Deflection. Back to the man who loves cleaning up defensively. Goes to Cox and the Eagles can run.
Stephen Armstrong, they should have said.
And they've stepped up the gear. Armstrong in space. Looks upfield. After a bounce. Pops it along. Judd's got a couple to beat. Harris at the front. And surely with support from Morris, they'll see it over the line. Let's head down to ground level and Michael Thompson.
Well, Sean Higgins has just gone down into the rooms, just about to go down through the tunnel. You can see him there in a lot of pain. A dislocation around the elbow. They were trying to pull it back in. They surrounded him to cover him up, but it needed an enormous amount of effort. Actually, two people trying to put it back into place. I don't think they could do it. Down into the rooms, and he'll need more attention.
Judd surrounded. A couple of tacklers. Now it comes to Lynch. He snaps. It's tight. Narrow. Eagles have certainly found that extra gear as we close in on quarter time.
And they probably should have had another goal. Stephen Armstrong just coming into that forward line. He should have seen that Judd had two men on him, and the long kick on top of his head probably not the option.
Gilby short. Griffin takes the mark. Bulldogs lead is 8 points.
Move it on, Ryan. Play on.
Bulldogs have won 2 of their last 3 games outside of Victoria. Before that, they'd won just 2 of 22. And this is a very wide ball to Boyd, and it runs out for a boundary throwing. The team's meeting here for the 11th time. It's 7-2 Eagles with a draw.
Now, it's not often you see a Bulldog player come out of defence and miss a target.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that one found the boundary.
They'll be happy to hear the quarter-time siren if they haven't given up a goal in this final minute. Rosa took too long. That's holding the ball. Good tackle by Power. Power on half-back. Waits for Eagleton to be free. He marks on the wing. Only Johnson can be his target here if he recovers the footy. He does. Now Johnson is covered, so he's got a bomb long inside 50. Grant in front, over his head. Glass should be able to mop up. Nikoski a fumble. Handball made Armstrong work. Johnson's going to try and trap it. Was Grant pushed? No. Todd's a chance. Eagleton on the left. Hurries it across the face of goal, and it squeezes through for a behind. With 40 seconds remaining in the quarter, the Dogs' lead is 9 points.
Well, this is where the forwards must love it, because the midfielders and the defenders are absolutely tired.
Yes.
And so therefore they're not
going to use another word there.
Yeah, ends with K. I'm not sure where that sits these days, but they don't get down in defence as easily. Mistakes start to occur.
Dean Cox couldn't ball it in. West with slick hands into the pocket. Did it stay in the field of play? No. Over and out. And David Weir-Punda coming up for his 9th possession, the highest on the Eagles score sheet. And Scott West, well, goes without saying, he's already into double figures with 11 next to his name.
If he gets less than 30, we'll tell you.
Stegeline goes short.
I guess evidence of the power of the Eagles midfielders at the moment. They've got Cousins on one flank and Judd on the other.
Time running out for both sides here. The Eagles still inside the defensive 50. Chain of hand passes to Stegeline. They'll need a mark and a kick from either side. Cross with courage. Jones at the spillage. Cousins across to Armstrong. Ends a very entertaining opening quarter here at Subiaco Oval. And the Bulldogs with a 9-point advantage, as we would hope, a very fast-flowing game of footy.
Well, it had just about everything. We had Gardner come back. We had Judd do a few of his tricks. Scotty West was dominating. Gilby going well off the half-back. And the Bulldogs setting up a forward structure that's going to be tough to combat. A great start to what's hopefully 4 quarters of excellent footy here at Subi.
They promised to take them on. They head to quarter time with a 9-point lead. Bulldogs ahead 26-17.
You got shakes from your head to your feet.
Monday, a massive 2 hours of live footy talk kicks off with White Line Fever at 7:30. Then James Clement, aiming for his 3rd consecutive best and fairest and All-Australian honours while leading the Magpies to a top 4 finish, is On the Couch. 7:30, White Line Fever, 8:30 On the Couch, live and exclusive Monday on Fox Footy.
Your wife called. Oh. She She's from Sloan's.
Fun meets functionality with the new Motorola Razr V3X.
Hello, Moto.
We want a great coffee, fast and simple. Harvey Norman helped us select the perfect espresso machine to suit our needs. Now we're the envy of all our friends.
Great tasting coffee is important. My automatic espresso machine from Harvey Norman makes my life a breeze. Great value and superb taste.
If you're a coffee enthusiast, you want great results from your espresso machine. Harvey Norman had a magnificent range to create the ultimate taste sensation.
Indulge your love of coffee. See the full range of espresso machines now at Harvey Norman.
Mr. Jones loves a nice warm shower before work. Stephanie prefers a hotter shower before school. Mrs. Jones likes a long hot bath after popping the twins to bed. And Jono has been in the shower for far too long. Everyone's happy with their new Rinnai Infinity hot water system and controllers. Purchase one and receive up to $150 in supermarket, liquor or petrol vouchers. Rinnai Infinity, the #1 continuous flow choice for Australian families.
In trouble was Uze. He improvises and makes something out of nothing. It's a goal.
With ingenious driver assist technology, an advanced active all-wheel drive system that anticipates when to engage, and 20% more interior space, the all-new RAV4 is bursting with uncompact thinking.
So if a customer comes up to me and says, you know, I saw this in another place for $20 cheaper, what are you going to do about it? I ring up that place, find out about the product, exactly the same, no questions asked. Give them the price cheaper, that's what we do.
4-outlet power board, $19.92. Aluminium step ladder, $79. Polytray wheelbarrow, $49.94. 10-kilo briquette heating fuel, $5.98. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stock item, we'll beat it by 10%.
That's what we say we'll do, of course we'll do it.
Bunnings Warehouse!
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Wednesday on Headliners.
The word that we got that night was that the club was going to merge with Fitzroy.
Footscray's fight for survival.
Leon Weigard was looking for a takeover. Ross Oakley rang. I said, a Footscray shot. He said, yeah, they're rooted.
But would internal unrest upend the doggies' bid to stay alive?
I kept a very, very close rein on Dennis Gallimberti. He wasn't a person that I liked nor trusted. Colin really threw the club into some turmoil.
Part 1 of Footscray's fight for survival. Wednesday, exclusive to Headliners.
Somebody stop me. I've been on overdrive all night. Ooh. This girl has got me and made me think it's summertime.
Two teams bound for September with glimpses of their best in the opening term. The Bulldogs off the back of 2 goals to Brad Johnson enjoying a 9-point lead. 4-2 to 2 goals 5. Eagles have had 12 more uses of the footy. Stenglein and Wirrapunda each with 9. Scotty West with 11 possessions for the Western Bulldogs. This match wrapping up round 13. 2 matches played earlier today. Adelaide at home to Geelong at Amy Stadium, while at the Melbourne Cricket Ground it was Richmond and Collingwood. Our Fox Footy viewers to see replays following us. If you don't want to know the final scores, look away now. Second term coming up here at Subiaco. Bulldogs leading by 9 points as we check in at ground level with Michael Thompson.
Thanks very much, Linda. Just seeing that Dean Cox will actually start on the bench. Michael Gardner will start on the ball. Sean Higgins had tears in the eyes watching that. 4 times they tried to get in. He dislocated his elbow, and there were some pretty hefty guys putting some pretty fair effort into finally getting it back into place. I've spoken to the team doctor. He said in the rooms they'll check if they get major swelling. He won't take any further part of the game. They'll ice it. No swelling. We could see him back in the after half time, I would say. But as for the Eagles, no injury worries. Interesting to see what happens with Cox and Helms. He stays off before he goes back onto the ground. But Michael Gardner will definitely start.
All right, Tomo, thanks for that. And better news perhaps there for Sean Higgins, the 18-year-old out of Newtown near Geelong in just his 5th senior game. Second term underway. Eagles running to the left, Bulldogs to the right as West is dumped by Judd. Ball held in there, will get a second bounce.
Well, it's interesting, the two major possession winners on the ground in Stengline and West have been playing on each other, one with 9 and one with 11. I think they'll be tightening up a little bit this quarter.
Gardner to Fletcher, did well to spirit the handball free, but West was in the way for another one. Now McMahon measuring it wide. Montgomery, good vision. McMahon keeps on running here, might get it back. McMahon wants space, but the space was filled by Smith. He might still get it, he will. Good running by Jordan McMahon. Now Butler pursuing him. He delivers it in the Johnson direction, nearly acrobatically and spectacularly, but neither. And it's Jones. But we're a punter, and the Eagles can effect the switch to the outer side.
There's a great mop up by Selwood, who was the one who got that ball out.
String line running hard was Gardner, but he's got a couple of Bulldogs to beat. And now Grant has been released inside the 50-45 out tight angle. But the veteran has such a illustrious career behind him. Would have to fancy his chances with that right boot.
Has been accurate this year, 18 goals, 6. So if anyone's going to fancy their chances, maybe Chris Grant.
The Bulldogs by 9 points. This the perfect tonic to kick off the second term. That's roughly what's confronting the Bulldogs veteran. Very good effort, just slides across the face on the first score of this second term.
Shaving the post on the way through makes it a 10-point game as Nikoski prepares to bring it in. Bulldogs with a couple of outriders as the Eagles huddle. Now, Nikoski electing to go to the members' side of the ground. It's a dangerous option because the Bulldogs have the numbers, and Boyd flying over Fletcher, who was edged out of it by Cross, takes the mark. And Boyd now goes to Cross. It's not 15. Boyd bangs it to the top of the square. Big leap in from the side. Couldn't quite hang on, Glass. And Robbins tried the soccer. And the Eagles rush it through for a behind. And now Glass wants to get it in quickly. That was a good setup by the Bulldogs for the last kick in. And the short ball here is for Butler.
In the back pocket, the Eagles, little tentative. And Selwood running back takes the mark. Fletcher in support, but caught on his wrong side. Delivery intended for Gardner. West mopping up behind, searching for a free kick, none forthcoming. And now Cousins to half forward Griffin. What a spectacular leap! And the young man doing it through the midfield and in defence across to Montgomery. Bouncing ball, important streak. Cleverly knocks it forward though. Chris Judd swoops, gets it to Armstrong. Advantage will be paid. And now Nikoski wants to take on the big man. He almost reeled him in. Now Selwood. Jones has to stretch. Fletcher is released. But now Jamie Graham. Very wide ball. The big man gets past West. Gilby's got him. Terrific tackle by a couple of Bulldogs. And one of them will emerge with a free kick.
Gilby, short, power. Awarded the mark, goes deep. Johnson waiting and hanging on.
Well, work rate of the Dogs in this second term has been significantly more than the Eagles, and they've created a couple of opportunities, haven't been able to make the most of it just yet.
Brad Johnson, like a youngster in school, asking, can I do it up? And the umpire says, yes, you can, Brad. Crowd now getting a little frisky as a result.
Take your time.
Bulldogs getting the inside 50s. Johnson with 2 already today and 38 for the season. Tightish angle, similar to where Grant hit the post from moments ago. Johnson going to the near side and missing as well. The Bulldogs beginning with 3 behinds this quarter, and the lead is 2 straight kicks.
9 scoring shots to 7. And the Eagles coming back off the break.
Sean Higgins will be off to hospital, we're told. There's an ambulance just in the car park.
That's bad news for the young man as Armstrong.
Probably just means that they can't get it in. They'll have to anaesthetise it to affect that.
Racing with Jones. That's a dangerous ball. Robbins coming hard. Couldn't knock it forward. And now Cousins. Across to where Punda. Cooney tries to corral him to the 50. Hunter looking for it. None forthcoming. And the ball just dribbles away. Eagle supporters frustrated. But the men in green aren't giving anything away. And that's a terrible sight for the young man. Off to hospital. No doubt for x-rays and other tests throughout the course of the afternoon.
Well, they've done pretty well, the Bulldogs, keeping the ball in their forward line, but this time it's leaked out.
And Fletcher kicks to the goal square. Graham at full stretch, unable to get the mark.
I mean, in reality, that's where the Eagles just have to do better, because you had Graham up against Lindsay Gilbey. He's just got to snaffle those. Otherwise, at ground level, they lose their advantage, and it's all the way of the Dogs.
Dangerous kick in the Montgomery direction, and Butler sends it away for a boundary throw-in. This match, the 1100th game for the Bulldogs since their one and only premiership. No club has had a longer wait of the current 16. Remembering the Dockers yet to win one. Stenglein driving it inside 50. Lynch kept his feet well, but goes without the footy. Harris caught by Judd. Play on the call. Cross. Got it on. Hurried ball by Morris. Intercepted by Gardner. And the big man looks to load it up. Hits it to the centre corridor. There's some holding there. Gilby's going to get a free. It's against Graham.
Cox about to replace Gardner. And Peter Street also changing with skipper.
No doubt on the free as Gilby goes to West. The handball to Griffin. This is where the Bulldogs are at their damaging best. Johnson, will he get it on quickly? He will. Inside 50. Gian Siracusa has it spoiled by Selwood. Running onto it, Butler. Well, Pete and Cox were in the process of both saying yours. Will they come unstuck? Selwood wrapped up. Cox deferring back for Glass. Tight room. Did he run out? Yes. Boundary throw-in, and we'll take it to ground level with Tomo.
Thanks very much, Clinton. Yeah, just spoken to the doctor. A fractured dislocation of the elbow for Sean Higgins, and he is going to hospital, still in a lot of pain. Just trying to stabilise that now, and he's only, 3 minutes away from hospital. A real shame as far as the Bulldogs are concerned, but he's in good hands now, and hopefully won't be out of action for too long.
Back inside Subiaco, it's Wade Skipper who won the free kick. Cleared out! Just outside the 50. And the big man pops it to the top of the square where Punda. Johnson came from behind. Fletcher. Across to Judd. And now the skipper heads inboard. McMahon on the angle. Knocked it away from Cox. Another good tackle by McMahon, this time on Stenglein. Cooney at close quarters to Skipper. Working hard, the Bulldogs, to keep it inside their attacking 50. They've done it successfully, although Boyd runs into trouble, and he's been penalised.
Armstrong again, I think, running him down. But I think John Morsfeld will be just a little bit concerned that too many snapshots of play have got more Bulldogs in them than the Eagles.
Lynch forced a long way down the ground to mark, but he's got a loose man, Staker at half forward. Now Montgomery closes. Chick on the lead. Excellent pass. And Chick can go back and think about a shot distance right at the edge of his range.
Well, they pushed up hard, the Bulldogs, the forward flutt trying to lock it in, but it broke a line, and they should make them pay.
From 50, kick holding up. Bulldogs haven't got numbers back there. What on earth was that? And Staker makes them pay with a goal. Well, that's the second time the Bulldogs have been found wanting on a high ball coming in from outside 50. It was 1-on-3 down there for a moment.
Well, it was, and this is the issue about can you sustain this on this massive ground, the work rate required to run up and down. Well, that time Wade Skipper, who was right down in the attack, he didn't make the yards to get down into the fence. Now, whether or not it was athletically possible, I'm not sure, but the ball travels a lot quicker than you can run.
Back to a 5-point game. The Bulldogs still in front, but the Eagles are pressing. A tall forward line looking to take advantage of that fact in this second quarter. Call came on Cross, who went head down.
You ducked into it.
Well, the umpire with the explanation.
Big Quinton's ducked out the back. He's on his own.
Skipper knocks it down to Cooney. Can't break free of Fletcher. Once again, Kerr this time like a clamp. Eagleton. And another whistle.
Good tackle around your waist.
Still got Quinton Lynch playing a bit of Russian roulette. He's out the back by himself on the wing.
John Worsfold looking on. Would be concerned with what he's seeing. Cooney's kick was smothered. Cross couldn't bring it to advantage. Now Boyd somehow works it to Eagleton. Stripped of possession. Kerr extricates himself with the football. Has the bounce.
Got an uncanny ability to know where that footy is with bodies around him.
Like an eel. And unfortunately, the kick for him was poor. And Morris inside the square. And Smith made good a kick that wasn't so good.
Sends it out wide. The bounce eludes Power. Set up favourably for Staker, didn't it? Chick on the lead for him again. He elects to have the bounce. Montgomery's got him. Handball run onto by McMahon. And now it'll open up for the Dogs, although Cross drops the mark. Handball to Griffin. He's a good user of the footy. This one wide of GM Syracuse. Johnson there as well. They wax it. GM Syracuse back for Johnson. Under pressure. Hurries a kick at goal. And misses to the right-hand side.
It was between a rock and a hard place, Brent Stone. There, if he handles it over the line, he knows he's going to get pinged. But that may well have been his better option, because it would have delayed them enough just to slow it down.
Good kicking where a pundit to Embley moves it on to Kerr. Suddenly it's on the wing. Drives to half forward. Out the outstretched fingertips of Banfield. Inside 50, Lynch on a collision course with Morris, who didn't deviate. And now Gilby. McMahon. They'll try and switch it to the outer side because they've got Montgomery there. Gilby and McMahon working themselves into danger. Gilby the sucker to Griffin. And now they'll get it out to that man Montgomery. He's been waiting patiently.
He's got support in cross, cruising pass and held up momentarily. Comes laterally to Eagleton. Not a lot to kick to. And therefore, he too decides to not necessarily push forward as quickly as he would have liked. Now it's Hargrave. We're at Punda. Overcommitted. Brilliantly done by Grant to the advantage of Robbins. Good tackle applied. He goes to ground. And Glass finds Nikoski. Eagles under pressure. Jones, where Punda ducked the head, was taken high.
Chris Redd saying yes, he did that.
See some players on both sides. They are working incredibly hard at the moment. And those tools, they may not come into effect until deep in the last quarter, but I don't think they'll be able to run at this level for the whole game.
Some of these Bulldogs could get a speeding ticket here in Perth. They have got some leg speed. And from what we've seen, they might have the Eagles covered in that category at the present time. Good pass finds Lynch from Banfield. And now Nikoski, who can kick a long left footer. Wants to break free. And then drives a high ball. Very ill-directed. And Cross, under no pressure, takes the defensive mark.
13 minutes into this second quarter. It's been a 1-goal to none term. Eagles with the only goal. Gilby, skipper, Gilby.
Danger.
Short ball for Ray. Grant leading, goal square unguarded. He bombs it long. Glasses getting back. It's out to the left regardless. So the Bulldogs return to the term as 5 straight behinds.
I think we're seeing a lot of kicks go astray just because of fatigue.
Yeah. 23 degrees here in Perth right now as Glass goes short to Nikoski, and for the travelling Bulldogs, it hasn't been that temperature in Melbourne for quite some time. Hunter. Now Fletcher, short, delivered it to the space, essentially told Banfield to run to that spot. And the kick was a beauty. Banfield down the line. Staker getting involved here. Bulldogs by 7 points.
We've got to get some men in there now, the Eagles. The Bulldogs have done pretty well. They've pushed back in numbers. Floated one behind the play.
Into the man on the mark, Power. The bounce important here. Out of play. Boundary throw in 8.5 minutes from half time. This crowd of more than 40,000 as you have a look at the leading ball winners. The best ever for a match at this ground between these two clubs. And they have a fair history over their 33 meetings now. Chick and West and Ray there. Ball like in a pinball machine. Fletcher, can he burn off Griffin? Misses to the left-hand side. It's a goal the difference.
And the captain inside, but he was on his left foot, so probably from that distance, Gerard.
Yeah, it's a tough one because the captain would have been running onto his wrong foot, but he might have, with his turbocharger, been able to swing. But he had a legitimate shot, and he just needed to nail it.
15 possessions for Scott West, and Eagleton is the recipient of a short pass. Just 7 goals in the match thus far. Taxing game, warm conditions. Smith right on the boundary line, and West has run on. Gives it to Eagleton. He's away. The bounce was okay in the end. Hooks the ball to full forward. Oh, big leap by Glass. And the defender, growing with confidence in his role, goes to Butler. Some space now, which the Eagles to work in. Not a lot to go to, though. So he carries it. And carries it. And goes to Hunter. The spoil came from Harris. Griffin at the spill. Chips. Interception almost by Cousins. Fletcher in support. Now the Eagles a chance. Hunter delays the hand pass. Lynch 65 out. And he picks out 1 of 3 Bulldogs.
It was a horrible shank, wasn't it? And it could be costly. The Bulldogs are on the counter-attack and they're quick. McMahon, West, Embley chasing. West can't wrong foot him, so he kicks short. Robbins unable to hang on to a hot one, and we'll get a boundary throw-in. Another look at Darren Glass flying into the Subiaco skyline. A goal the difference. The Bulldogs, albeit without a major in this second term, clinging to the lead. They are the second highest scoring team in the AFL. Cox, Armstrong, and now Kerr blazing away haphazardly, although Rowan Smith opens the door for the Eagles. And then Grubbers a kick. G made Ray work for it. Fletcher in from the side. Good contest unfolding here. Who will win the contested footy? It's the Bulldogs. It's Smith. He'll want to make amends. He drives it deep. Johnson's in this pack. Oh, from the side. Good mark taken by Embley.
Well, Chris Grant's pushed up behind the football at the present time. He's across centre wing. They're just trying to go with a smaller forward structure.
Good clearance. Embley to Jones to Fletcher. Hunter on in the centre corridor. He chooses to go wider to Lynch, who's presented a long way down the ground today. Now he pumps it along to the top of the square. Chick, Grant getting back. Hunter scores time. He's got his second, and that gets the local fans excited here on Fox Footy Sunday.
And just having a look at Quinton Lynch, as we have done over the last couple of months, I think this is his better position when he's outside 50 and gets that ball in so quickly that it puts defenders under enormous pressure. And there you saw Chris Grant pushing back down. Needed to get the ball across the line, couldn't quite affect it. Adam Hunter stayed on the deck and picks up an easy goal.
Two goals to Adam Hunter, 16 for the season. They've included 2 hauls of 4. Once against Carlton, the other, the Kangaroos in round 4. A clearance for the Eagles. Again, Kerr finds Jamie Graham.
And the Dogs are in holding pattern at the moment. They've got Chris Grant just loose in defence. That's a poor kick. David Wirapunda is loose, or Rowan Jones across half-back.
Graham was looking for Cousins, but it was chopped off by Cross. Gian Siracusa kept his nerve. So too Boyd. Under pressure, the Bulldogs, but they'll switch play to Sam Powell, celebrating his 23rd birthday this afternoon. Over the top to Cross, it was pushed to the act of hand passing. And Gerard, you've summed it up beautifully. Holding pattern indeed for the Dogs as Harris and Gilby combine now.
Tembley now, that's after the matchups, he's loose across half-back.
Waiting with the football, Gilby at left half back. Patient build-up. Eagleton on the wing. A high ball. Almost a clever mark by West. Stingline wearing him like a second skin. Johnson off to Boyd. Here's a chance for the Bulldogs. West, 45 out, a tight angle, not a renowned goal kicker. And the Bulldogs with that though take a 1-point lead into the shadows of half time.
Marking in the shadows is Rosa as you check the Eagles bench. Short one, Selwood.
Play on.
Back for Rosa. Eagles entering this match 10-2. In second place on the AFL ladder as Embley marks. Cox. A lot of tired bodies out there. Bit of push and shove off the ball involving Cross and Kerr. Cox kicks towards Staker, who drops the mark, recovers well. Rose to the Butler. Eagles looking dominant here in the final stages of the quarter. Lynch was well within range but could not hang on to the mark. Hargrave chasing him. Lynch with support from Stengline. Back for Lynch. Can the big man gather it and get away? No. And West steals it. Boyd. Bulldogs on the counter strike. Ray feeding it back for Boyd. He'll run off Gardner. Gardner chasing. Boyd still going. Good chase, big man. Boyd delivers inside 50. Skipper couldn't mark under the pressure from Glass. Those tired bodies forced to find something extra. And Embley goes wide and Selwood will mark.
It's end-to-end stuff here, Selwood. Lots of mistakes, perhaps the pressure, perhaps the heat. But we've got a tight game on Sunday afternoon football. Then Rosa goes to Judd, first game back from injury. Pleading for it inside the square is Embley, that's ignored. Judd pumps long. Hunter will come from behind. Gianser accuser taken very high. No debating that decision. And the Bulldogs holding firm. There's 4 goals apiece in this match so far. Cooney has the sit on Fletcher. Dropped the chest mark. Allows the Eagle in. Hurried kick. The bounce is important. It's cruel for Gianser accuser. Harris in support. He was subtle.
It's a tough one for Brett Allen. I think he's been a bit conservative there.
It was subtle to a degree, Jared. It was not quite blatant, but it was a half brother of.
Half forward the Eagles. Oh, clever. Gardner brilliant to Cousins. Eagleton in the way, read it well. Smith look out. Hands needed to be quick, and they were. And Eagleton feeds Gilby. Goes to Cross.
They're going to have to push some numbers back here, the Eagles, because the Dogs have got plenty of space.
They lead by a point. Gilby down the line for Robbins. Swings it to Ray. Now, can he hit a target up on the 50? Power gets in front, and then Shepherd's off to free up Johnson, who inexplicably could not hang on to it. McCoskey, dangerous, didn't knock it out, and he's been pinged. He dived on it, and Johnson wants to go quickly. Can he cover the journey? He loads up the top, doesn't hit it all that well, and Glass top the goal square. Marks for the Eagles. And they've got 1:10 to go the length of the field with Armstrong, and they're trailing by a point.
Well, the pass was intended there for Embley, but Gilby came across, knocked it over the line. They're playing with plenty of spirit, the Western Bulldogs.
Well, there it was, Brad Johnson. He was
Straight at the footy.
He was in control, and he got it taken from him, and Nikoski was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Such are the rules of the modern game. Judd up to the former skipper, Ben Cousins. Returned at 28 on Friday. Banfield on the wing. Looks for Hunter. Harris accompanies him. Mopping up was Hargrave. Interception from Staker. Inside 40 seconds. A high ball. Lynch slaps it to the front. He's got support. It's Butler. Oh, brilliantly knocked away by Sam Power. And the Bulldogs, superb in defence. Griffin, Hargrave, back to Power. And they are holding up tough here. And Farron Ray can give the Bulldogs a late chance to score.
Uses McMahon at centre-half back. Elects to play on with Rowan Smith. If there is one team that can move the ball in 15 seconds, it's this club. Oh, McMahon inexplicably as well drops it. And now the Eagles. Selwood caught high, must be a free. Going to run out of time.
Well, the Perth Marathon is on today, and I reckon that all the players would know how the runners felt at about the 35k mark, because there's been a lot of inexplicable mistakes.
Now, hang on.
Get off him now, you two! Fuck off me!
Is this going to be 50? It's a big call from Matt Stevic, and he does not give a 50 because that would have got the Eagles within range. As it is, time will beat them. It's half-time. And the Bulldogs have not lost a game this year when they have been in front. And halfway, they're a perfect 6-0. They lead at half-time today. But it's by the narrowest of margins. A point the difference. Tempers and temperature running high.
An incredible performance by both groups. They have run many, many kilometres for the return of one goal for the quarter, Clinton.
Yeah.
It was, it's going to, I think, take its toll at the end of the match. Bulldogs, if they can continue to run as they are doing at the moment, they're going to be right there. The Eagles, I think, have got the firepower up forward, but as yet they haven't been able to utilise it.
At half-time in the match of the round, it's the visiting Western Bulldogs leading by a point. 4-8 and 4-7.
Join us on Tuesday night. Man played 246 games with the Saints in every position except the ruck.
He had to be Gary Colling.
Talk about son of a gun, he played fullback for the Cats.
John Gunner Scarlett.
Then join Ron Barassi for some great 1986 moments from the Fox Footy Vault. All part of your legendary Tuesday night lineup right here on Fox Footy.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman Returns tumblers are now landing at Hungry Jack's. Purchase any value meal, and then for $2.50, you'll receive a Superman Returns collectible 3D tumbler. Collect all four and leap into Hungry Jack's now.
What's wrong?
My great aunt Agnes just died.
What? The one from Scotland?
Yeah.
The one with the castle and servants? The one with no other living relative but you?
Yeah.
Whatever your plans, you can be confident AXA and your financial advisor will help bring them to life. Be life confident.
And then he went dangerously close with a big climb on Anzac Day.
It's not easy for me to live my life keeping secrets.
Superman Returns.
The 2006 footy season is hotting up. Subscribe to Ringtone King Clubs and get your team's anthem on your mobile. For example, text Footy18 for the Mighty Lions anthem. Or for the Maggies, text Footy20 to 191818. How's about Footy27 for the Power Anthem? Or text Footy30 for the Swannies. It's easy. Just text Footy and your favourite team's number to 191818 and show your support to the flamin' end.
Imagine, if you will, an uncharted island thought to exist only in myth.
I think we should go back.
Behind the wall! Go back!
Starts Thursday, July 13, only on Foxtel Box Office. Last week on The Gospel...
We now know the name of the show. It's called The Steph Show. And what if Stephanie comes in and says, I'd just like you to be involved?
Well, I'd have one question for her.
What would that be?
How much?
Oh! That's The Gospel on Fox Footy Channel.
Shooter.
It's an arm wrestle, the match of the round, a tight affair. Half-time, the Bulldogs by a point, 4-8-32 to the Eagles, 4-7-31. Johnson with 2 goals, singles to Grant and Hargrave for the Dogs, while for the Eagles, Hunter with 2, singles to Staker and Judd. That second term, the Eagles with 2-2, and the Bulldogs delivering just 6 behind. Scotty West with 20 possessions. Clinton and Jared with you. We should have worn our Darwin NAB Cup uniform of T-shirt and shorts, Jared, because it's that sort of day. It is a taxing day for the players. 23 degrees, but boy, it's one heck of a contest.
It's a great contest. Pretty exciting, because you can almost see there the players pleading with the AFL in the last 10 minutes. This is too hard. This ground's almost too big for football now, the way that the game is played, with blokes running from one end of the ground to the other. That was one of the highlights of the day. Adam Hunter, big leap and a big goal, but I would have thought there'd be double the amount of goals being scored at the moment, Clinton. There's only been 8 for the quarter. A number of easy shots, particularly by the Bulldogs, I think, early in that second term went astray. They had the opportunity to, I think, extend their lead.
Well, do you see it opening up? Do you see it opening up in the scores, picking up to a 12 to 14 goal game?
Well, I think history tells you that the big blokes have to come into it at some stage. We saw 1 goal to the Eagles when Wade Skipper wasn't able to make the ground. You know, I think history would say that in time that is going to be a favour for the West Coast Eagles. But you can't underestimate this Bulldog side. They have just found a way to remain competitive right throughout this season with the loss of some of their bigger players.
Good snap there by Ryan Hargrave. This was a period where the Bulldogs kicked 4 goals in a row in the first term after the Eagles kicked the opening goal of the match through Hunter. And when Johnson kicked his second at the start of time on of the opening term, the Bulldogs were out by 15 points. And at that stage, the Eagles had a pretty fair wake-up call.
They did. They were inspired by a couple of individual performances, and it turned it around. But we haven't seen too much of this. Brad Johnson finding space, going back and kicking goal.
Bulldogs haven't kicked a goal since that point. Start of time on of the opening term. Stephen Armstrong didn't get a free kick there against Farron Ray, but he's been a live wire, the former Demon.
Well, I think this is when the game changed, particularly in the first quarter. That turned them on, and they went forward. They got a goal, and it was as if that was the signal to fire up. Andrew Embley's been an interesting player. I think he can play a lot better than he is at the present time. With the footy, he's been pretty good. This was Judd going forward, resting one out against Jordan McMahon, and he was just too strong.
Judd with 9 possessions and a goal to half-time, as you see Ryan Griffin leap high over Daniel Chick to take that mark. And then in the second term, it was 2 goals to the Eagles, none for the Bulldogs. Hunter and Staker providing the goals, and both times the Bulldogs caught napping there. Staker, in particular, that one there. Bulldogs, a lot of looking at, well, hang on, where's the support down there? Darren Glass at the other end with a nice leap as well.
I think John Worsfold will be imploring his players, try and get the ball running through that half-forward line to get it in deeper. At the moment, I think both clubs are pulling up a little bit short and trying to take pot shots from 45 and 50 metres out. When they got it deeper, it was still pretty open, and Hunter bobbed up for his second.
And both players have key midfielders that can get more involved. Kerr with just 6 touches to half-time. Cooney, in contrast for the Bulldogs, just 4 possessions to the main break.
Selwood's done a good job on Cooney. I mean, he's a young guy who's doing pretty tough. I mean, you shouldn't be getting tagged at 20-odd years of age, but you tell that to Chris Judd, who's been doing it for a long time. And Kerr, well, I think he's just suffering for the standard of his disposals and performance right throughout the year.
Point the difference at half-time. Bulldogs leading 4-8 to 4-7. The Eagles, well, their spiritual leader, Ben Cousins, making a point here at half-time.
Couldn't get to all 8 games? Then catch the winners for a complete wrap-up of the round. The Winners is your one-stop shop for all the round's best highlights.
The Winners tonight, 7:30 local.
The 2006 footy season is hotting up. Subscribe to Ringtone King Clubs and get your team's anthem on your mobile. For example, text Footy18 for the Mighty Lions anthem. Or for the Maggies, text Footy20 to 191818. How's about Footy27 for the Power anthem? Or text Footy30 for the Swannies. It's easy. Just text Footy and your favourite team's number to 191818 and show your support to the flaming end.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman Returns tumblers are now landing at Hungry Jack's. Purchase any value meal, and then for $2.50, you'll receive a Superman Returns collectible 3D tumbler. Collect all 4 and leap
Hungry Jacks. Now.
Richmond have got the number. Oh! Spectacular leap from Kate Pettifer.
You haven't been to a golf shop until you've been to an on-course national golf shop. The difference is you're actually on course. Winter catalogue out now, up to 50% off. Callaway golf shoes, $99 with free ball pack. Optima golf balls, 15 to the dozen. Get the gear you want at the prices you want. And there's a PGA Pro at every shop. Visit our website or phone now to find your nearest on-course national golf shop.
Join Primus before July 10 and you could win one of 50 Samsung LCD TVs. And Primus has great value broadband plans to suit everyone. Like startup broadband from only $9.90 per month with a half-price wireless modem. It's one of the best broadband deals around. So with Primus, you'll save. If you're new to broadband or need a great deal, call Primus on 1300 Primus. That's more like it.
When they last met, it was a night few fight fans will forget.
This is a very, very good fight. An excellent prize fight.
The best of their era. Fernando Vargas and Shane Mosley traded blows until the fight was stopped in the 10th round.
It's a technical knockout victory. It goes on the score sheet as a knockout.
On July 16th, they won't be letting the doctor stop the rematch so quickly. Mosley v. Vargas 2. Sunday, July 16 at 11 a.m. on Main Event. All-Australian, Norm Smith medalist, Brownlow medalist, captain. Only a premiership eludes West Coast Eagles superstar Chris Judd. Will it be this season? And is he contemplating a return to Melbourne to continue his career? Find out as he joins Jared, Mike and Robert on the couch, live and exclusive Monday, July 10 on Fox Footy Channel. Luke Darcy, footy champion.
What a quarter for Luke Darcy. Luke Darcy is a beautiful kick. Darcy!
You can catch Luke on Fox League teams as part of Fox Footy's champion team.
Bulldogs leading by a point at half-time here at Subiaco, 4-8 to 4-7. Time for Toyota Talking Tactics. A lot of talk about Michael Gardner making his return today. First time since last year's grand final. You said he's coming out of the cocoon. Is he going to be a moth or a butterfly? Well, he's had 2 kicks, 2 handballs, 4 possessions to half-time, 6 hit-outs. Which is he?
Oh, look, I don't think there's any question that he's a butterfly that just needs a little bit of work around the ground. In fact, there was a couple of times where he communicated by hand with Ben Cousins, and it was just like the old team back. And I think we're going to see this guy just develop both on and off the field. He's obviously, I think, been stung by the fact that he's had to go away and develop, and all power to him and to the Eagles. Peter Street's one interesting one. He hasn't had a possession, but I think in the hit-out department he's holding his own.
It's 13 to 12 on the hit-outs so far. Do you think they're going to keep Gardner, or is this a job trial for the next 10 to 12 weeks, the remainder of this season, given he's out of contract at the end of the season?
Well, I think Michael Gardner is in control of his own destiny. I think he's got about 120-odd games of footy to play. When you consider that a couple of the greats, Coleman and Polly Farmer, played just over 100 games. I know Farmer played many more over here. I mean, he can still finish his career as a legend of the AFL, and he's got that ability, and I think everyone hopes that he fulfills it.
Daniel Chick finishing out his career with the West Coast Eagles, always works hard in the forward line trying to keep the footy in. Has given away 3 free kicks though today. It's always just one gear for Daniel Chick, isn't it?
Yeah, part of the package, I think. This is Ryan Griffin trying to keep him away, but he does that and then he loses him. He starts spectating a little bit, and Ryan Griffin will know, just watching this on his highlights package, that it was actually Chick that got that ball out. So his job is not done until the finish. But he plays an important role down forward. He doesn't kick a lot of goals, but he does create a hell of a lot more than I think he's given credit for.
And Daniel G and Syracuse for the Bulldogs, one that you'd be looking to lift in the second half.
I think so. Gia has only had the ball half a dozen times or so. I know he's missed some games coming back after a bit of a hammy. I think he's missed 3. But he's one I think that they can put on with plenty of reserve in his legs. So the Dogs have got plenty of tricks up their sleeve.
Second half, going to be a beauty. Point the difference. Second half coming up next.
Monday, a massive 2 hours of live footy talk kicks off with White Line Fever at 7:30. Then James Clement, aiming for his 3rd consecutive best and fairest in All-Australian honours while leading the Magpies to a top 4 finish, is On the Couch. 7:30, White Line Fever, 8:30 On the Couch, live and exclusive Monday on Fox Footy.
It's 1970 Blues versus Pies. Alex Jezelenko.
Alex
Jezelenko! Jezzy, you stand here. I'll be Mackay. Dave, you can be Jurgen Jenkins.
Little bit of leverage for Jezelenko.
You'll be okay.
Takes it to the wing position.
Oh, Jezelenko! Yeah!
Hey.
Yes! Nice grab.
And Lachlan's down there, Davis to Holmes! That's as good as it gets.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me.
What is it that has Jack spooked? How much do you know about TV channels?
You owe me your soul. Jack Sparrow!
Oh, bugger. If there was anything could be done, well, there is a chest.
The dead man's chest.
To find it, you must sail to the end of the earth.
We have our heading.
There will come a moment when you have the chance to do the right thing.
I love those moments. I like to wave at them as they pass by.
Only at the movies, July 6.
What's great is when a customer comes in and wants to do a project, and you talk them through it, and then they come back 2 weeks later and tell you about what a great job they've done. The help that you've given them has actually made their day.
1200mm ABS level, $19.98. Zito electric chainsaw, $89. Bosch impact drill, $149. 4-litre British Patent flat paint, $49.80. 12 rail clothes era, $6.90.
Made the whole project worthwhile.
Bunnings Warehouse!
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Wednesday on Headliners.
The word that we got that night was that the club was going to merge with Fitzroy.
Footscray's fight for survival.
Leon Weigard was looking for a takeover.
Ross Oakley rang. I said, a Footscray shot. He said, yeah, they're rooted.
But would internal unrest upend the doggies' bid to stay alive?
I kept a very, very close rein on Dennis Gallimberti. He wasn't a person that I liked nor trusted. Colin really threw the club into some turmoil.
Part 1 of Footscray's fight for survival. Wednesday, exclusive to Headliners.
Eagles trailing by a point at half-time as we take your boundary side with Michael Thompson.
Thanks very much, Clinton. Well, the biggest problem facing both teams is going to be fatigue. I haven't seen a game where I've seen so many players who you know to be guys that have got great stamina. Drew Banfield, Chris Judd, Andrew Wembley coming off looking absolutely exhausted in the first half of a game. They cannot sustain the pace they are pushing themselves at the moment. The only major injury so far we've certainly spoken about, Sean Higgins unfortunately taken to hospital with that fractured dislocation of the elbow. We understand he is stable now and he's getting treated. We'll try and get some more information for Sean's family back in Melbourne. But gentlemen, the biggest problem is going to be fatigue on this big ground on a beautiful Perth day.
All right, Michael, thanks for that. As we have a look at the leading ball winners for the Bulldogs, no surprise about the names, Stuart, at the top of that tree.
Well, Scott West had a magnificent second quarter. Tyson Stenglein and him went pretty wide early, but Scott West doubled his output in the second quarter. What's interesting is that Lindsay Gilbey with 17 and Ryan Griffin both coming off the half back line with 13. You would think with that sort of figures they would be further ahead on the scoreboard or would have kicked more goals, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Jordan McMahon is another interesting one who spent a lot of time with the Dogs under Rodney Eade as a back, deep back, and yet he's gone becoming, I think, slowly transforming into another midfield option.
Tight net huddle just breaking from the Western Bulldogs. Always entertaining watching the live betting on the big screen here at Subiaco. Bulldogs $3.30. Mark Redding still at half time. The Eagles $1.25. Is that just the local skew on the betting front?
I sense that's because where they're playing, not how they're playing, the Western Bulldogs, because they certainly have had the better of the first two quarters. Very tough place to win, though. Clinton, as we've seen historically, Melbourne going back some 4 years ago did it, but they're few and far between.
Read an article by Chris Judd a couple of weeks ago, and he was basically saying that those people that say that the game is only built now for athletes are kidding themselves. It still accompanies or still allows all sorts of players like a Peter Street or a Jordan McMahon to play the game, but there is one aspect you have to be able to do, and that is run.
Yeah.
And if you took today's game as an example, I think no truer words have been said, because these blokes are running, and they've got plenty of running to do.
Johnny, you're right. We're set to go. Eagles, if it gets close, remember, this year 5-1 in games decided by 15 points or less. Bulldogs by a point, heading to the left. Eagles to the right. We're underway.
Nice tap from Cox.
Cooney batters it for Cross. High one. Cox in the way. Ray did well to affect the spoil. Street hurries it forward. Graham, Wirapunda. Here's Gian Siracusa. Wirapunda steals it. Great handball, a bullet to Judd. Glass, Embley, and the Eagles can look to head forward with some confidence first. Embley's chip kick nice. Fletcher, Butler, goes deep, Lynch on the lead. Good spoil by Harris. Down to Scotty West, pulls the kick nicely for Ray, who wants to play on and uses Griffin.
Ryan Griffin from right half back. Good delivery. He's got Cross, a loose man at right half forward. Has he spotted him? Yes, he has. And so now Gian Siracusa, too far out to score. Skipper floating forward. The big man on his chest comfortably. 45 out. And the Bulldogs continue to look dangerous on the counter-attack.
Possessions inside the forward 50 are just so pivotal. The Eagles went forward and they blew it. And quickly the Dogs whipped it forward, and Wade Skipper finds some space and gets a shot.
The big man with his side leading by a point. A low-scoring game. Left footer on the way. He makes very good contact. What a start for the Bulldogs in the third quarter.
What a starter, right? Rodney Eade to be absolutely delighted. And another goal, and all of a sudden they've got a sustainable lead. And when you consider that, I reckon when you get a couple of goals in front, and it just encourages to run more, and the reverse applies. Trying to chase down a lead when you're carrying fatigue with you like this at the moment is going to be almost impossible.
Those Victorian teams may not have beaten the Eagles here for quite some time, but they've been getting closer and closer. Collingwood, Melbourne and Carlton have all been challenging the Eagles in the last quarter of late. Bulldogs here in the third, in front by 7 points. Embley hurries it forward. Cross peeled off well. Gee, risky, flirtatious handball to Gilbey. It'll come off though eventually with Morris to Gilbey. Chased by Cousins. Kicks to Skipper again. The big man, nimble enough to get back and mark. Now, on the lead, into the pocket, it sits up for Johnson. Was there holding? There was. And Johnson has got to line up his third.
It's interesting that last set of bounce, Clinton. Kerr chased the footy. His man Cross, he ran immediately to centre half back. And the Eagles got the ball forward, and it rebounded pretty quickly.
Johnson 2 straight in the first term to this end. 2 misses in the second quarter. Every kick's an important one now, and he splits the middle. Johnson's got 3. Bulldogs out by 13 points. Fox Footy Sunday, live and exclusive from Subiaco. On to Sunday night football on the East Coast, Jared. We might get used to this.
Yes. Well, you'll be negotiating with Rupert, Clinton, so you just make sure you get that done. But this was against the flow of play. Cox has actually given them first use of the footy. There was a couple of fumbles. There was one fumble. Both Kerr and Judd were going for the same footy, and they're just not maximising their ops.
So Brad Johnson, he's kicked more goals than any other Bulldog this year with 39. He's taken more marks than any other Bulldog. The small forward syndrome at the kennel continues. And they're doing it with aplomb out of the centre, West, across to Ray by hand. They've started this quarter superbly. This man in particular, Skipper, has seen plenty of the football. Good tackle on Graham. He's been penalised holding the football. And Skipper wins the footy.
Maybe worth considering a change, I think, the Bulldogs. Maybe Adam Hunter back onto Skipper and maybe even go smaller in the forward line, because Jamie Graham just being exposed at the moment.
Ryan Griffin drives an awkward ball to Johnson. Quick hands. Cooney over the football. And a couple of dogs are there. Good shepherd by Cross. Across to Johnson. 45 out with the sit. Gian Siracusa just off balance. Goes to ground where a punter cleans up. Across to Cox. And now Kerr can momentarily relieve the pressure.
Goes to Judd. Cox. Kerr again. Running it out. Banfield gets the kind bounce, has space on the outer wing. McMahon had to peel off his man coming to Banfield. Left his man Fletcher open. McMahon doubles back, but Fletcher kicks long. Hunter in front. Near the boundary line. Lynch in support. Griffin dangerously back to the field of play. Harris heading for the boundary line. It's out off a boot on the full. Free kick going the Bulldogs' way. Hargrave quickly across ground for Street. As Jared said, no touches in the first half, but 7 possessions. He's had a couple early. Cooney's got to get involved. He sets up Smith here. Delivers Gian Siracusa. Kerr closing.
It's a big job for Nikoski. One out in the goal mouth with Johnson.
The wily veteran in Nikoski wins this duel. 13 points, the Bulldog lead. As Griffin, who wore a heavy hit heading back into the defensive half, going to try and run it out, or is he coming off? We'll wait and see.
Rosa's just replaced Embley.
Griffin's provided some run, had 9 handball receives in his 15 possessions. As Smith to Cooney, he kicks a goal and drives through another, and the Bulldogs are 19 points clear. He said in the Sunday Herald Sun today, he's got to get closer between his good and his bad games. His bad games, he has 10 possessions. He's got to try and make that 15 to 17. He only had 4 in the first half, but here's Cooney getting involved early in the second half.
Geez, they're looking dangerous. Ryan Griffin is the bad news for the Bulldogs. We'll go down to Tomo shortly, but he looks like he may have a bit of a cork in his right bunk.
The question mark has been asked of the West Coast Eagles by these feisty Western Bulldogs. Coming to town, ready to take on one of the competition heavyweights. Cox through the hands of Cousins. Lots of bodies around this football.
You've got to stem the flow here, the Eagles. There's another goal, and she's going to be tough to pull that back.
Butler works it to sting line. Cousins in support. Buys some time. Once again, the delivery not as it should be inside the 50, although Fletcher trying to make good, goes to ground. Terrific pressure by McMahon. Gilby tackle holding the ball. Quick to move it on. Lynch didn't go to 15. The big man has to hook around his body, and he's missed. This is not the West Coast Eagles' day as we head downstairs to Michael Thompson. Tomo. Ryan Hayes, gentlemen, you've got to turn the microphone on, Tomo. A cork for Ryan Griffin around the buttock area. Quite a nasty one, but they're pretty confident he'll be back on the field reasonably soon.
Cross, boot the ball quickly to half forward, and it's over for a boundary throw-in with the Bulldogs leading by 3 goals.
Scott West is coming from the ground, or at least he's nearly coming from the ground, and Boyd gets another run.
Already a man down with Higgins to play no further part, and Griffin receiving some attention. Half forward the Dogs. Cox the hit out. Cooney running onto it. Nice pickup. Can he run off Kerr? Great shepherd by Boyd. Sits Kerr on his backside. Frees up Cooney. He'll get it back from Ray. Could he go all the way? Elects not to. Perhaps should have, although Smith has juggled a mark in front of Banfield. Rowan Smith would have to kick this with all his might. We know he's terrific on the run. This set shot will test him. If he gets it, they've got a 4-goal lead, as you see the setup and the bump coming up from Boyd, getting rid of Kerr. Right on the 50. Out to the right. Behind. 7-9. Plays 4 goals 8.
Got to get a sparkler somewhere, the Eagles, because the Dogs are hungry and they're running harder at the moment. They're finding space. Their skills are just slightly better with the level of fatigue that all players are carrying.
3-1 to 1 behind in favour of the Bulldogs in this third quarter, and the Eagles are looking shaky. Daniel Kerr, not sure that hand pass was intended for Weirpunda. It got to him in any case. Across to Nikoski through the corridor after a bounce. Long bomb. Harris. There's Chick. Gilby knocking it towards and over the boundary line. Good result for the Dogs.
I'm not sure I've ever seen Dean Cox kick the ball out from full back. I think his intent was to kick it out and then charge to the other side of the ground to become a wingman. He has got perfect skills.
Street.
But that'd be almost a first.
Chick comes across and sends a very high ball. Gardner nudged underneath it. Heavy fall for Harris. And now Judd, the captain, the class, the brilliance.
The post.
The post. The year's coming off a month on the sidelines, including that week's break. He's forgiven, but he's still not forgotten.
Gilby sucks in some deep breaths. 23-degree afternoon. The Bulldogs by 3 goals. A year where they've defied the odds at seemingly every turn. Now trying to do what no Victorian team has done for nigh on 4 years. Beat the Eagles at Subiaco. Ray for Eagleton going wide for Cross. Remember, they slipped to 6th after the victories yesterday to Melbourne and the Swans. They started this round in 4th place. Cross for Power. Back for Eagleton. Bombs it long to a contest on the wing, and Glass gets in front. Couldn't mark. Boyd the quick hands. And a kick that bounces to half forward. Weirpunda runs into Robbins but does brilliantly. Handball for Hunter. Now Dean Cox. Ruckman takes a bounce. Needed the support. Got it. Hunter running. Kicking long. Target deep. Stengline and Chick. Harris with the volleyball spike to centre half back. Judder's lurking though, and he uses it so well. Oh, but Fletcher drops the mark. He should have had that, and Harris heads successfully for the boundary line and a throw-in.
Well, John Woolside has suggested that those questioning the forward line of the West Coast Eagles sometimes are off the mark, but at the present time they are struggling to find somebody to take a catch, although Fletcher had that all but in his grasp. Judd taking the ground, comes out to Eagleton. He pulls it back cleverly but dangerously. Montgomery, Glass did well, although he lost possession. Skipper, hand pass into the feet of Banfield, and the Eagles, through weighted numbers, get it to Hunter. In fact, it's Butler, but his kick again is off the money.
Well, Glass and Wirrapunda are certainly keeping the Eagles in it at the moment. They've been resolute across the half-back line. Hunter's gone back to that half-back line, and it's Cox that's gone forward with Gardner onto the ball.
Gilby to Cross. They've had it 46 times between them. Cross to Robbins, had a step on Hunter, who closed very well to affect the spoil, and it will stay in for Rosa on half-back.
Not sure it's their forward line at the present time. I think their midfield is getting stitched up. They just haven't had the run, and therefore they haven't been able to get it in there quick enough for the forwards to get a chance.
Gardner, target is Lynch. Bulldogs, though, with numbers. The kick had to be precise. Grant gets away from the lunging full forward. They've got numbers here, the Dogs. Skipper to Ray. Flares it out wide for Gian Syracuse. And now Eagles have got men back, so he'll have to hang on to it. Just squares it up again for Skipper. Johnson is deep. He goes in that direction. Got to beat two. Eagles should have it, and they do. Hunter floating in, top of the square, taking the mark, relieving for Banfield.
Koski's just got to be a little bit careful. He doesn't give a free kick away, grabbing Johnson. He's right on the borderline at the moment.
18 points the margin. Jones the target. Cross chopped it off. Danger here for the Eagles. And Johnson will take the mark. Adjacent to the Eagles. Race about 35 out. Quick to move it on. A centering ball. Eagleton working off Rosa. Well, Rosa did well. Got a hand to it. And then Eagleton, a low percentage play, sees it over the line on the full.
It was just the height of Rosa there that got him through. As we have a look at marks for this quarter, the Western Bulldogs chipping around, getting heaps of it.
Cousins to restart. Rosa and now Judd. Gardner is by his lonesome on the wing. And the big man back in business for the first time since the grand final. Awkward kicking style, effective on this occasion. Lynch, 2 kicks from home. He roosts at 60 into the pocket. Grant perched in front. Cox from behind. The Dogs brilliantly out of defence. Get it out to West. Possession number 24. Make that 25 as he gathers. Oh, dangerous to Grant. Run down. They're flirting with danger here. Eventually Power goes back to West. He should find Morris, although that as well is close to the boundary line.
The least convincing clearance perhaps we've ever seen, but effective in the end. Gilby will have to go wide, or well, he's gone for the torp and the boundary line. If he gets the line, it's a brilliant kick. He had nothing on, and he doesn't get the boundary line. Hunter in the way.
Well, he was just kicking to get it out of there. The problem the Eagles have got at the moment is that they're trying to utilise the big bloke, getting it in there quickly, but they haven't got enough blokes at the fall. Crummers are non-existent, and so the Dogs end up with more numbers. They've got to find a chest mark.
So here are the Dogs with numbers again. Grant, West, Power, out wide. Boyd is going to run onto it, pursuing him Selwood. Good tackle by the young Eagle. Eagles with 3 on 2. Rosa for Wirrapunda. He's a good user of the footy. Sends it out wide, and Stengleine's got it. 8 minutes remaining, third term. Bulldogs by 3 goals. Stengleine hits the hot spot. Can Cox mark? No. Where are the Crummers? Fletcher perhaps. Jones goes without it. Lynch couldn't get it onto the left boot. Still Cox. Snaps and misses. And the Eagles are 4 goals 10.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
It's a week with the scoreline on a dry day. And Gerard made the point very clearly that a 3-goal game in these conditions was very difficult to reel in. There are tired legs, tired bodies already, and we're only halfway through the third quarter.
Peter Street's at full forward, so a different mix now for the Dogs with Chris Grant, as you can see, just making life tough for the Eagles.
Chipping the ball, and now conceding to Power in the back pocket. McMahon will take it close to the boundary line. The Eagles have to man up here. Pinpoint pass to West. Now he can go. Elects not to. Bulldogs calculating this build-up. With Eagleton after just the required 15. A 17-point margin. Dogs led by 9 at quarter time, by 1 point at the half. Robbins goes to ground. Rowan Jones feeds Butler. His pass was poor, and Eagleton quite content to see that over the boundary line And we'll have a throw-in on the wing.
Well, the Dogs have got 6 minutes and they can finish this footy match. This can be over if they can get another couple of goals before three-quarter time. And the bonus for them is that Judd and Cousins are off the ground.
Well, it's been a 3-goal to none quarter. Selwood, Kerr, Fletcher. Target is Staker. Hargrave the spoil, and McMahon cleans up. Griffin, good recovery. No one wrong, has to wait. Now working hard to get out wide. Robbins next to him, Butler. Boundary throw in a good result for the Dogs. They can reset some 80 metres from home.
Now I say that with trepidation, knowing that they came back from 50-odd points down against Carlton and Geelong. But right now their work rate just isn't there, Mark. You've seen all of those games, would you agree?
Spot on, Jared.
Eagleton at the full. Got a good shepherd. Runs to 60. To the goal square. Montgomery at full stretch. Could not hang on. Glass thought about conceding a behind. Goes short for Embley. We're inside of 6 minutes to play in the third term. Now we're a punter. Has Selwood short. Goes longer to Armstrong just on the ground.
They're having blinders down there. Glass and we're a punter. They're just keeping the Eagles in this.
Armstrong sits it up to the wing. Well marked by Jones. Peels off street. Carries it a very long way. Too far holding the ball. Advantage is paid. Skipper to the corridor. Ray. Handball wide. Johnson chased by Nikoski. Kicks it for Robbins. Now, no one presenting, so he just goes short for Eagleton. Oh, and he was thinking about what he was going to do with it. Back for Power. His teammates tell him to slow it down. Wide ball for Street. And we're coming up on 5 minutes to go, and the Dogs in front by 17 points.
And the Eagles with a standing 8 count. The scoreline doesn't suggest that, but the momentum. Watch out, Peter Street. Chick came from behind. And that fortuitously lands in the lap of Rowan Smith. 60 out. On the point of the square. Called to go. Long drop punt. No mark. And again Glass. Nikoski. Oh, gave it up. Boyd. 25 out. He misses to the right-hand side. They've got the door just about shut on the West Coast Eagles. They just can't put them away. Margin is still 16 points. Still just 11 goals in this game.
Fletcher waiting out wide. But in the back of our minds is that they are the great escape artists. Gardner fumbling the mark there. Handball inside for Fletcher. Back for Gardner. High to half forward. Grant waiting. Heard the footsteps arrive. Stood his ground, but Hunter affects the spoil. Kerr, Jones, Staker. Handball over the top. Can Stegline be straight here? Oh, it's smothered through from behind. Well played by the Bulldogs.
Nice little dig there from Jordan McMahon over the back. Haven't seen one of those since the Sydney Olympics.
Another look. It's brilliant.
Get a job for Brazil doing that.
Here's Gene Siracusa. Wide ball. Morris hangs on nicely. Now they can look to run. Boyd for Grant. He's got Eagleton on. He goes to him. He'll have Rowan Smith running. Could go all the way. Eagleton wants to go himself. And kicks into the man running alongside him, Glass. They should have done better there. Although they'll get a boundary throw in with 3:18 remaining.
Darren Glass just 13 possessions this afternoon, but that doesn't tell the real story. That was a 1%er, which was worth so much more.
Could well have saved the game. Who knows?
Just over 3 minutes to play. It's the Bulldogs by 16 and looking oh so dangerous. Jones over the football. Boyd, Eagleton. Pushing the back. And it starts to open up as Embley swings it wide to Wirpunda. Cox hard on the lead. Too much hang time. Lots of Dogs to clean this mess up.
Judd is in the goal square at the moment.
Obviously short of a gallop. And the Bulldogs are saying catch us if you can. McMahon has run all the way from defence. Delivers wonderfully to half forward where Montgomery, an open goal square. He must have thought about it. 65 from home. Will pinpoint the pass. Rowan Smith sneaks away from Banfield, and the option in the end probably correct.
Well, a smart play. He didn't blaze away, and I think the Eagles could possibly learn from that. Rather than just kicking it long, he wanted to find an option, and he ended up getting one.
Gee, it's a big kick, this, isn't it? It's massive. With just on 2 minutes to play before three-quarter time, a dual Australian. He knows the importance of this kick. The drop punt on its way. It bends back beautifully, and the Bulldogs, are they on their way to breaking a WA drought? Well, stunned silence at Subiaco, Jerry.
I was going to say, I haven't not heard this noise for a long time at this ground. I think the last time we heard it was a couple of weeks ago. Probably
for the difference it was then.
Yeah, but I think everyone at the ground thought
it'll come.
They'll get there. Something will happen. Right now, I think there is a major doubt in the back of Eagle supporters' minds because they are not looking like it. They need a spark from somewhere.
What a season this has been. What a roller coaster that's been ridden. And now the Bulldogs are 23 points clear and the Eagles are working hard.
And the Dogs have got what they want. They've got a crowded defence and they've got a very open forward line because the Eagles are going one-on-one.
They're going to get the clearance as well. Cross for Morris. Now Boyd finds an opening. Sends it wide and Cross takes the mark. How impressive is this young man in his 59th senior game? 26 possessions and 10 marks. Already above his season average of 23 touches. He's going to drive it long. Can they get a mark inside 50? Robbins is in front. Where thinks the nice spoil. This closing minute and a bit going to be so important. A goal either way crucial. Eagles, Kerr takes on Cross. Handball to Wembley. About to be moved down. He's gone.
It's about the fourth time I've seen an Eagle run down from behind, and that's the trademark of winning sides. The Bulldogs are going like winners at the moment.
Matthew Boyd with the chase. And they're happy, it would appear, to slow things down in the final minute of the quarter. Harris, 23 points to the good. A 4-goal-to-none run here in the third stanza of play. McMahon trotting down the outer side. Chipping it over the top. This is Morris now. And they are happy to wind down the clock. The runner has been out there. Hargrave. He'll go all the way back to fullback for Harris. And he can stand there for the rest of the quarter. He's told to play on and he's happy to stand there.
It's a good kick too, which is...
He's going to have to go to a contest. Will it open the door in the final 10 seconds for the Eagles? It will not. Boyd, Street, West, Ray. They've successfully negotiated the time clock. What a corner from the visitors. This is something unfolding here. The Bulldogs by 23 points with 1 quarter to go.
Just fascinating watching the Rodney Eade, I guess, pull the puppet strings because he'd be thrilled with the response he got from his players. They sucked up time despite a half-time, but straight after half-time they came out at 100 miles an hour. They've got a lead. It's a lead I reckon they're going to be able to protect. If not, it's going to take an extraordinary turnaround by the West Coast Eagles.
It's been 4 years nearly since the Victorian team beat the Eagles here. Are the Bulldogs on their way? Find out after this.
Monday, you could spend hours searching for the weekend's best quarter of football, but why bother? Fox Footy's already done it for you.
For another one! Yes! Chance for Melbourne! Bruce! He's got it!
The Crucial Quarter, Monday on Fox Footy Channel.
Watch your heads, guys.
Dad!
I wish we had a bigger car.
Oh, hi. I am a GE Money Genie, and I can help, because with a GE Money personal loan, you can have the four-wheel drive you've been wishing for. Our personal loans start at just 8.74% per annum, and you can apply in a blink. Welcome aboard. What about Jack? I can't leave without him. Never mind, let's go.
Only at the movies, July 6.
Get it hot and get it now at Harvey Norman. Hurry in for Sunbeam's Cafe Quality Sandwich Press. The Cafe Grill, now a scorching $39. Hot price on Miele Vacuum Cleaner. The powerful family all-rounder with 4.5 litre dust bag and super air filter, down to just $379. And so hot it's steaming, DeLonghi's Magnifica. A fully automatic espresso maker, a heaven-sent brew at $799. Check the catalogue out now from your electrical specialist, Harvey Norman.
Join us on Tuesday night. A man played 246 games with the Saints in every position except the ruck.
He had to be Gary Colling.
Talk about son of a gun, he played fullback for the Cats.
John Gunner Scarlett.
Then join Ron Barassi for some great 1986 moments from the Fox Footy Vault. All part of your legendary Tuesday night lineup right here on Fox Footy. Thursday on Fox League Teams. Join Footy's esteemed panel of all-stars for the latest team lineups and brutally honest football analysis.
Now he just seems to play his own game and doesn't care about his opponent anymore.
It's not that hard to go one-on-one.
No one's listening. They're listening.
Fox League Teams, live Thursday on Fox Footy Channel.
Well, last time we were here, we saw the sequel to The Great Escape. Is it going to become a trilogy? 23 points behind with a quarter to play. They've kicked just 4 goals, 11 this afternoon to the Bulldogs. 8-10. Brad Johnson with 3 more. He's got 39 for the year. Scott West with 31 possessions. Hunter with 2 goals for the Eagles. Fletcher has 22 as we head to ground level and Michael Thompson.
Clinton, I have not seen John Worsfold so fired up since he's become coach of the West Coast Eagles. Normally they go into their groups and talk to the assistant coaches, forwards, defenders, midfielders. It was one long address from Worsfold and he was absolutely fuming, demanding desperation at the ball, demanding that if you've got a player, stick with him. And he kept reiterating that. Very fired up. Rodney on the other hand, very calm, very, very happy with that quarter. And he's just telling his players, this is it. This is the chance they've been looking for. Remember the draw, what was it, 4 years ago? This is the chance for them to score a win at Subiaco. We haven't seen it for 4 years from a Victorian team.
Thank you, Michael. The Bulldogs have dug deep. Plenty of 1%ers during the course of the second half, including the big man, Jared Peter Street, refused to give up on the chase of Rowan Jones.
Yeah, it's a great chase and tackle, wasn't it? Rowan Jones, we also saw Andrew Embley running forward. No options up forward, and I think John Morswell will be filthy that there hasn't been people getting out on their own and into space up in the forward line.
Bulldogs have only won 3 of 15 at this ground in club history. They enjoy a 23-point lead as we start the final term with Cousins of the Eagles feeding the handball to Armstrong. Eagles running to the left. Free to Armstrong advantage. Paid to Cousins. Hooks the kick to half forward. The first 5 or 6 minutes going to be crucial. Can the Eagles get a snip? This is Morris. Held onto the footy well. Fed cross. Now Gilby. Bulldogs away.
To half forward. It was Johnson who perched in front. Over-committed was Nikoski. Here's an opportunity. Johnson should go for home. He does, and he brings it right to left. Not far enough. In 2 or 3 minds there, Brad Johnson.
Well, he knew he had Chris Brown on his left-hand side. Rocket would be a bit agitated, but I mean, he's a bloke who's kicked that goal thousands of times through his life. Hundreds of times in AFL footy.
Ball comes back in from Wirpunda to Butler. And the Eagles have been in this position, as we've mentioned, a couple of times this season. Their opposition, though, today, hazard a guess, realised the importance of stopping an early surge as Judd goes to Cox. He keeps it in but drops the football. Systematic of how the Eagles have played this afternoon. A high ball to the wing. Farron Ray slides in from the side to take the mark and sends West on his way to possession 32.
Has Cooney in the middle. Griffin running with him. Cooney goes himself. Goes deep. Johnson the fly. Couldn't hang on. Might recover. Can't bounce it home. 3 goals, 4 for Brad Johnson. And 2 chances early in the last to extend the lead to 5 goals.
Good job by David Wirapunda once again. Just enough pressure.
Nikoski to bring it back into play.
Cooney on Judd. What an important matchup for the final term. Cousins is the other one that the Dogs just have to lock down on.
Nikoski to Selwood. Who will provide the spark, if there is to be one, for the West Coast Eagles? Armstrong. Remember, they have been winning in tough fashion over the last few games prior to the loss to Port Adelaide.
Embley's to full forward.
Selwood a slip. Jones caught out of bounds. Throw in on the wing, and there's been nothing in the opening 2 minutes to indicate that they're going to retrieve this 25-point deficit.
Yes, the legs of the West Coast Eagles don't seem to have enough petrol to spark a revival, although Cox knocks it to Armstrong. Impressive in his first game for the West Coast Eagles. With courage was cross. Couldn't take the mark. West received it from Hargrave. And once again from half back, the Bulldogs can build, and cross finds Sam Power just shy of the wing. The run from Ray. He keeps going. Kicks to a dangerous position just short of full forward and getting across to take the mark with Stengline. This is suiting the Western Bulldogs at the moment. 25 points the margin. Jones overhead. No run up field.
Just got to get a goal, the West Coast Eagles. They've got to get some belief back. Right now, they're just in each other's way.
Staker sends it wide to Lynch, who has too much height and space. A post across, 60 from home. Emily on the lead. And the vice-captain out in front of his face. Finally, they've taken a mark in scoring range.
Looks more comfortable out across that half-back line, the big man. There's a beautiful kick on the lead, as we just saw. And Andrew Embley with a roll of full forward. Can they conjure up another magical escape?
He was the acting captain in those remarkable victories against Geelong and Carlton. He'll tell his grandchildren about that, but might omit the Port Adelaide result. Big kick, important one. Will that spark West Coast? It was going to come, Jared, at some stage. An effort for 5 or 10 minutes, but can they sustain it after what's been a very taxing afternoon?
Well, there's a lot of players that can play better than they are at the present time. The Dogs have had a couple of opportunities. They haven't been able to put the final nail in. Which means, Clinton, we've got pretty good 10 minutes of footy coming up.
It's live and exclusive on Fox Footy Sunday around the country. The margin now 19. Rodney Eads always a tense man in the coach's box on match day. Right now the heart beating just a little faster. What will the next act bring? Street for G and Syracuse are wrapped up by the veteran Banfield, a second bounce. West is up to 33 touches, by the way.
I think John Morsfold's message has got through. Every Eagle side by side his player.
Cox palming it down. Judd wrapped up by Cooney. Was he pushed? Play on the call. Kerr close to getting in the back of Ray. Will have a third bounce.
No, yours was in the side.
Eagles have won the clearances today, 23-16. There's some important clearances coming up here. As you see, it's a crowded midfield zone. Can someone get a break? It's the Bulldogs. And McMahon loads it up. Kicks quickly inside 50. Robbins, Montgomery. It'd be a big reply there, pleading it for it to be touched. It hits the post regardless. It's a behind, and the margin is 20 as the Eagles bring it in quickly.
Nikoski with a penetrating kick to Selwood. He plays on. Not great awareness there. Slaying in the tackle. The Eagles still force it forward. Cox, tired legs, on a collision course with Cooney. And the big Eagle is down. Staker shrugs one, flips it out. Banfield in turn to Judd. He's going nowhere. The Bulldogs are not taking a backward step. And this is bad news for Dean Cox, an early Brownlow medal favourite. An injury, an arm injury. It doesn't look good for the Eagles ruckman.
Well, the onus will be on Gardner to run this game out, won't it? As they take him off the ground, the Eagles essentially a man down. But Kerr slipping. Handball wide over the head of Lynch. And it's taking a long time to get Dean Cox, with a pained expression on his face, off the ground. This could be a disastrous day for the West Coast Eagles. Another look at it. From the boundary, throwing Judd. Pops it inside 50. Good spoil, Staker to Embley. Can he lift them? On the left. Towards full forward. Bulldogs have to concede it behind. Jones keeping it in. Jones! Oh, what drama! And the Bulldogs concede it behind. It's high stakes. And it's high tension.
That is a very bad sign for the Eagles, with Dean Cox. We'll hear from Michael Thompson shortly, off the ground. Looks like a serious wrist or arm injury. And the Bulldogs shielding their eyes from the sun, and an onslaught which is coming from the West Coast Eagles. They lead by 19 points. The kick to the wing. Street, tallest man there. Lynch with the contest. Kerr hasn't had a great day. Montgomery across at close quarters to McMahon. Running back with a flight was crossed, and he'll take the mark and hold things up. Ball to go. Tries to measure the kick. Montgomery in his sights. Juggling effort and paid. And Brett Montgomery from outside 50, a noted goal scorer.
As much as the result is important for the Eagles, the biggest story from them is whether or not Big Cox has got a broken arm.
Montgomery pulls the kick. Johnson works his way to the front, and the veteran has taken a very good overhead mark. And this will sting the Eagles off the back of the injury to Dean Cox. It could be game, set and match, with a long way to play, albeit in this final quarter. From almost point-blank range, Western Bulldogs supporters will celebrate another goal. 4 to Johnson. The Bulldogs kick clear again.
Great response by the Western Bulldogs. But that is the biggest story. That for the Western Bulldogs, it's a totally different issue. It's all about result. But for the Eagles, this is the major story. And that looks shocking.
It was already a glum mood here at Subiaco today. That gloom exacerbated now. A grim walk back to the rooms for Dean Cox. A glance at the scoreboard, yielding no joy either. It's 25 the difference now. Gardner in the ruck in the absence of Dean Cox. There are 13 minutes to go.
I have to note the character shown by these Bulldogs with the injuries they've had for the past 2 months. Unbelievable effort this afternoon.
And this would be their biggest win of all. But they're not there yet. Judd, wide for Cousins. Goes deep. Embley again. Good spoil by Morris. Kerr, caught, slips away. On the boundary, kept it in. High kick to the square. Knocked down, Staker. Selwood gets it. They stay alive. And you talk about 1%ers. Kerr somehow keeping it in, forcing it forward. And then Selwood with less than a foot to spare.
Yeah, they just willed this one across the line, the Eagles, and now the Dogs have got the real challenge coming. You can just feel the tidal wave starting to build. Have a look at this for passage of play, though. Gets himself clear, but it was Staker's unbelievable awareness here, where he knows the man's there. Selwood gets it.
The Eagles have lost their number one ruckman. They've been outplayed, but such is the way that John Worsfold coaches this team that the match is never out of reach. We've seen that already in season 2006. Gardner, what role can he play? Selwood across to Cousins. Hooks the ball to half forward. No mark to Staker. Lynch conjured a kick. Heads towards the boundary line. And Harris, that will be an interesting decision. He's been penalised. Right in front of the Eagles when they run out. They have very many shots at goals here.
You just read it straight out. No, you've got to keep it in play.
Message was clear, and Adam Hunter from the tightest of angles.
There's a goal from here from Daniel Kerr against Carlton that sent them on their way.
The defender turned forward, kicks, it's tight, it's close, oh, hits a post, a third of the way up. What a game on Sunday afternoon footy, who saved the best till last in round 13.
The Bulldogs have pushed down most of their players up to ground. They've just left Matthew Roberts in the goal square with Wirapunda.
It's a sense of trying to hang on now, isn't it? Because the Eagles are surfing a tidal wave of momentum. And Fletcher goes to the goal square. Crummers required. Bulldogs conceded a hide. Harris getting involved.
The Bulldogs came here with a plan, though, to take them on. And there's a fine line between going into your shell too early and walking away from what puts you 3 or 4 goals in front. They've got to attack to win, the Dogs, because the West Coast will reel them in otherwise.
A sold-out crowd of 40,375. Getting involved now is Cooney. Chews up some valuable seconds, but he's kicking long to a contest. Gardner will affect the spoil. At the full Eagles. Glass for Fletcher. Should gather. Kicking deep. In front. They've got it again. And it's Andrew Ridley. How often does he step up in clutch situations?
And right now it's the Eagles who are getting the crumbs. They're getting the numbers to the contest. The Bulldogs are basically just all flowing back, trying to guard the space. And Andrew Embley again in the forward 50.
Oh, what a finish. Could they do it again? Could they come back when it was seemingly lost? They'll need this. 11 points if he kicks it. Better stay with us, folks. Embley's got 2 in the last quarter. 2 more, and they'll pinch it.
Chad Fletcher's had a huge impact on this game in the second half. His numbers now are up to 24. He's getting a lot of it. And right now you've got Scott West out of the centre bounce. That's where they've got to win it.
And this is a game worthy of September action, and who knows, these clubs might yet meet at the business end of the year. 11-point game. Gardner in the ruck. Cox injured, and the big man gets it to Cousins. His good mate on his left side. Spearing ball. Terrific defence from Harris, away from the clutches of Hunter. And a boundary throw-in, 55 out. The Bulldogs have made the running since half-time, but now they are hanging on as the Eagles inevitably were always going to come late. Gardner again, slaps it down. West. Skipper was there. Griffin, back to West. Now Power. Cooney, they run it out very well through half-back. And Eagleson combines with Gilby. Throws it on the boot. 1-on-1. Wirapunda with Robbins over the football. How will this be viewed? Play on's a call. Nikoski surrounded. Goes to Butler. Runs out of room. And now Kerr can go to Rosa at half-back. And the Eagles can set up their attack.
Less than 10 minutes to go. Rose is stalked by Montgomery. Handball over the top. Butler towards Lynch at half forward. Could spoil the Dogs. Grant, dangerous handball. Staker, Glass, pops it up. Joe is lurking. Hunter or Embley there as well. They've all gone up the Eagles. Crummers were required. Will get a bounce top of the goal square.
Thanks, guys.
What Price has set a clearance here. Gardner, Harris in the way. Got to get boot to ball quickly. Banfield at full stretch. Couldn't hang on to it. Selwood provides support. Kicks it back to forward pocket. Gilby's happy for it to go out. So's Morris. Boundary throw in with 9 minutes to go.
Well, the Bulldogs just look as if they need to hold the footy and slow this game down, because running at this tempo, you can't help but think it's going to be an Eagles win. They've just got to break the momentum that the Eagles have managed to build.
Ball there to be won. Cross. Cousins goes without it. Eagleton's going to run onto it. Needs quick hands. Got it on well. McMahon. Good pick up. Eagles on the back foot here because Eagleton could go all the way. Butler chasing.
Great kick.
Eagleton's given it to Montgomery. He's going to get a goal. Just a question of accuracy. Should not miss it from here. And he drills it. A steadier for the Bulldogs. Big goal on the counter-attack. Kicked by Montgomery. Gee, it was a nice setup.
Well, it's the best way to break any momentum, and that's to win the footy and break the line. And in doing so, Rodney Eaters set themselves up with a one-man forward line. And the one-man forward line actually was the dummy, because it was Jordan McMahon that kicked the goal? Montgomery. He was smart enough to see on the far side that the break was on. He charged up the member's wing and ended up getting it.
The Western Bulldogs under siege. Found the footy and went the length of the field. And John Worsfold, frustration written all over his face, looking for an answer. The margin is 17 points. The Bulldogs have responded. They led by 23 at three-quarter time. Skippers over the football.
Knock it out.
The call is there.
High footy.
Until the whistle is blown.
Thanks, guys.
And a secondary bounce.
Michael Thompson has gone down to the rooms. As soon as we get some information on Dean Cox, we'll bring it to you.
Third man up is Rowan Jones. Judd swoops. Thought about the bounce. Kicks it to Staker. 55 from goal. A long ball. Big pack. Crummer required. And Grant more than happy to slap it through. And another behind to the West Coast Eagles. 7-15. Plays 10-13. Under 8 minutes to play.
Gilby. Short. McMahon. Going to be keepings off for a while. Eagleton. Ticking away. Cross.
Thanks, guys.
Mark number 12, possession number 31. To a semblance of a contest. Nikoski does well. Cousins to Stingline to Cousins. They've got to use every free possession they get and use it well. Lynch long. Chicken a wrestle. One hand, not the second. Morris. Power under pressure. Hits the boundary line. Is it deliberate? No.
He'd want to be an umpire in that situation.
Deep in attack the Eagles. 16 points down. 7 minutes to go. Gardner and Skipper lock arms. Hargrave does well. Bounces it up for Montgomery. Now, option short, nothing long. Being chased. Feeds the handball back. Morris slipping. Griffin still in the danger zone. Can he get away? He does. Kick to the wing. All Eagles. Kerr's going to mop up. We'll give it to Butler. Going to centre it now. Selwood, can he be the springboard here?
Play on.
Going to switch it to the outer side. Nikoski waits. Drives it long. Bulldogs have got numbers. Who will get the footy? Big lead by grab that was.
A tower of strength. He came in from the side. And Brian Harris, the wall of defence for the Bulldogs has gone up. Rodney Eade now in preservation mode. They realise this game is theirs if they play smart football. Johnson a long way up, still a one-man forward line for the Bulldogs with Robbins and Weirpunda. Eagleton. And the Bulldogs botch, no doubt, watching the clock. It's on their side. Eagleton's left foot kick to half forward. Ray was there. It came to Selwood, in turn to Cousins. Hooks it round his body. And taken by Lynch. Just on 5 minutes to play. The margin is 16 points. The Eagles have no time to ponder. A thumping ball from Lynch. Almost to the 50. Harris again involved. Staker wrapped up. Pushes it free. But Smith to West, and the Bulldogs with some run. Gian Siracusa, enough weight on the football to get to Eagleton. He holds it up momentarily into the path of Cross. The bounce will be important. Rosa on his tail, brilliantly done by Cross. Gets it inside to Boyd from 60. Pops it up. Can Johnson take another contested mark? Nikoski there, wearing him like a second skin. Sees it over a boundary throw. The Bulldogs may just have done enough.
Johnson tumbling into the fence there. Bulldogs have it at the right end of the ground. Well, Mike, boundary throw in again, 4:37 to go. Time running out for the Eagles. Skipper, one more for the Dogs. And it will be all over. Still not yet. Cousins to the wing. It's a one-on-one. Lynch couldn't get it. Griffin slaps it wide. Gian Siracusa provides the support. Well done. Griffin again. Goes deep. Stengline couldn't clasp it. Skipper to Johnson. Can he get there in time? No. The bounce favourable for Nikoski. Time running down. 4 minutes to go. 3 goals needed. This is a better build-up. Fletcher's got it. Takes on Cross. Great tackle. Bulldogs' desperation continues. Rosa goes wide. Hargrave affects the spoil. They're not going to be denied, it seems. Hargrave long. Eagleton awakes it. Down to 3 minutes 40. What a win this would be. Rowan Smith now can take some time off the clock. Happy to go backwards. Maintaining possession, McMahon. Eagleton again. And the crowd now sensing the inevitable. Hargrave can go very wide for Gian Siracusa. For all of the adversity they have struck this year, the Western Bulldogs just keep on winning and impressing. Lynch out wrestles Grant to mark. 3 minutes to go. Long but wide. Staker. Jones. Fletcher. Selwood. Good lead. And now Hunter can have a shot from 50. He's got to go for it, doesn't he? Well, he's gone very wide for the fullback, and Glass could not take it. West for Ray. McMahon. Back for Ray. Caught. Runs into a wall. Fletcher goes deep. Bulldogs have got the numbers. Glass, the defender. Can he step one? Yes, he can. Oh, surely they couldn't do it again. They need 2 in the last 2 minutes.
To say it's unlikely would be an understatement, but that's just capped off a magnificent game from Darren Glass. He's had to go forward because there's no one for him in defence. Chris Grant has pushed up the ground. And that's left the Bulldogs with a one-man forward line in play, a two-man forward line at the bounce. But Darren Glass has just capped off another great game. He's kept the door slightly ajar.
Michael Thompson.
I've been down to the rooms. I haven't been able to get hold of the doctor, but the word from the rooms is that Dean Cox has a broken collarbone. Not confirmed, but that's the word I'm getting out of the rooms.
Thanks, Tomo. 2 minutes, 2 goals. That's the equation for the Eagles. A huge centre clearance. And who else but Scotty West with his 39th possession to drive the Bulldogs forward. Johnson back to West.
Free kick play, yeah.
Going the Bulldogs' way.
And you'd reckon that'd be enough. They don't have to go forward one more time. They can just wind it back. And Cross has just made himself available.
Boyd short. Back for Johnson. 90 seconds. Inside 50. Ray could not mark. Will it open the door? Wirapunda paddling it on. Keeping the Eagles alive. Gardner's got to mark this. And he does. Handball over for Lynch. He's a thumping kick of the footy. Loose man and half forward. He hits him. Graham. 1:07 to go. Chick provides for Shepherd. Can they mark it? It's Hunter. He won't get to the contest. Hargrave has paid the mark. And it's his biggest of the day.
Set a darn good game as Ryan Hargrave. He has been there, won his own position, and has dragged in a pretty good mark.
Boyd going backwards. Hargrave again. A Victorian team has not beaten the Eagles here since August 2002. Rodney Eade can almost not stand the pressure that this finish has provided. Just don't turn it over, he says. They're 9 points in front. And they're going to hang on. It's stunning stuff. Hargrave will go back to Gilby for the final act of an amazing afternoon. The Western Bulldogs' extraordinary season continues, and this win is their best yet. Never say die. There are only 200 Bulldog fans in this crowd of more than 40,000. But they, like their players, are delirious. They've won 4 in a row. They improved to 9-4. And how many times have they been written off this year by bookmakers, by pundits? They refuse to be denied.
Yeah, and the one thing they do is just deliver for everybody. Let's go down on the ground because Tomo's got one of the stars of the afternoon.
Well, Brad Johnson, your 200th game, you had the agony of a draw here when you led for all of that day. How does it feel today pulling off on one of the top sides of the competition, the first Victorian team to win here in 4 years?
Yeah, it was a fantastic effort by the boys. Obviously, over the break, you focus on the Eagles and what we can do to win, and we played it out to the letter today. It was fantastic, and we knew they'd come home hard. They always do the best last quarters in the competition, and to hold them out was fantastic.
We heard that you really wanted to go at them, and not sort of a tagging situation, almost like a shootout. Was that the message before the game?
Oh, we had a few different things in place today, a bit of everything, so it was fantastic, great win.
You must be proud of the boys. 5 knee reconstructions. You've got another injury today with young Higgins. The team's doing incredibly well under a lot of injury pressure.
Yeah, we've got a lot of depth, and we're just really playing as one unit, which is really important.
Go and celebrate.
Thank you.
Brad Johnson kicked 4 goals for 4 of their 10. Who would have thought in the almost twilight of his career, as the Bulldogs go down to their supporters, he'd have 40 goals after 13 games and be this key target, this revelation.
He's an amazing player, isn't he? And he's almost key to, I think, the success that Rodney Eade has been able to extract from this group of players. He just caps them off, gives them a target. He's able to win it high and also low. But they've just been one of those great stories, the Western Bulldogs. It's been one of the best marriages I think we've seen between coach and playing group for a long time. And all power to them. I think they're one of those universally admired sides, the Bulldogs. And to pull off this victory, just again, once again, opens up the question about this competition.
It does, doesn't it? It's too late to get on board membership-wise. It cut off on Friday, but they set a new club record for members. They ticked past 26,000 by 5 o'clock on Friday, just before the deadline, 26,002. That was their target. They got there. And it's reasons for men like this. He had 39 today. Scott West with Tomo.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, Scotty West, that is a sensational victory.
One of the best I've played in, absolutely. It's the middle of winter back in Melbourne. It's 13 degrees. Obviously it wasn't 30 out here today, but it was hot. You notice the difference, but real guts from the guys. It was a magnificent effort.
The guys in the commentary box were talking about the fatigue factor. How tough was it? It's a big ground that you seem to do an enormous amount of running.
Yeah, we factored the fatigue thing in during the break. We had a really good break. We had not a lot of training sessions. We had a fair bit of time off at the start of the week. We trained in the middle and took the weekend off, and that was in preparation coming over here. It was going to be a bit warmer and the big ground, and it's really paid off. And yeah, it's just a great effort.
Just talking about the fit between you with Rodney Eade and the team, it just seems to work so well together.
He's a great coach. It's I know he's not watching, so I hope he watches it later. But he can just work with the guys the way he likes them to play, and we're really gelling together well under him.
Scott West, another brilliant game. 5,000 handballs again today. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Tomo. Overflow of emotion, really, for the Bulldogs today, isn't it? They're 9-4 now. We'll see them again next Sunday, Jared, at the MCG against the Kangaroos. The Eagles slip to 10-3. 10-13 to 8-16, our final scoreline. We'll come back and talk plenty more about this one. An extraordinary finish to round 13. The Bulldogs win by 9 points.
In 2006, White Line Fever's all-new lineup delivers the biggest names in the game. Monday, the Ox and Spider return. Tuesday, Rockety joins Tony Shaw. Wednesday, Terry Wallace gets you the inside word. Thursday, Matty Lloyd and David Parkin. Friday Night Fever, Hamill, Bucks and Sheehan. For in-depth analysis and latest football news, White Line Fever. Weeknights, 7:30 Eastern.
When you wake up over in New York. Did you happen to see a little girl go by here?
No.
I don't have any record of your daughter ever having been on board.
Jodie Foster.
My daughter is alive.
How far?
Put it into the light! Furnishing!
Hugo.
Julia! Where's Julia?
Flight Plan. Starts Thursday, July 6 on Foxtel Box Office. This July on the Biography Channel. Their music has inspired the world, and their bad behavior is legendary.
I get to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, usually with whomever I want to do it with.
Gene Simmons, Queen, Tommy Lee, and Mick Jagger are all rock gods. Saturdays from July 8.
That's hot.
From pioneering a global hotel empire to worldwide glamour icons, the Hilton family name has always been synonymous with success.
The Hilton family is an American dynasty.
Trace their extravagant family history in The Hiltons, Sunday, July 23.
You want to know what comes between me and my Calvin? Nothing.
His name evokes style, sensuality, and controversy. Now, meet the man behind the global fashion empire in Calvin Klein, Wednesday, July 26. That's July on the Biography Channel. All about people, all the time.
On June 22, 9 names were immortalized in the AFL Hall of Fame. Announced as the AFL's 20th legend, 1966 Premiership winning captain, St Kilda great Darryl Baldock. As well as Hall of Fame inductees, 8-time All-Australian and twice Carlton Premiership winner, Craig Bradley. St Kilda's 1987 Brownlow medalist and the AFL's all-time leading goal kicker, Tony Lockett. 7-time Waffle Premiership winner, Steve Marsh. 92 Norm Smith medalist and 2-time Eagles Premiership player, Peter Matera. 6-time Best and Fairest winner for Fitzroy and South Melbourne, John Murphy. 1933 Brownlow medalist, Wilfred Smallhorn. Carlton's Robert Walls, who won 3 flags as a player and another as coach. And former VFL umpire and commentator Harry Beitzel. Fox Footy Channel congratulates the AFL Hall of Fame class of 2006.
There's a first time, there's a first time for everything. You don't have to be the altar boy to sin. There's a last time for nothing until you die, of course, in which case it may be. But I'm holding on to the learning and the reading I've been doing. But what awaits us on the other side? There's a
The AFL season, hey, never ceases to provide amazement and talking points. And one today is the Western Bulldogs' 9-point win over the West Coast Eagles. Got to as many as 25 clear in the final term before the Eagles surged back. It was that third term that set it up for them. 4 goals, 2 to 4 behinds. They win at 10-13 to 8 goals, 16 to improve their season win-loss record to 9-4. The Eagles are at 10-3. Brad Johnson, the star up forward, kicked 4 of their 10-13. The rest were singles, while for the Eagles, struggled really to find a consistent forward there. That was a target. Embley kicking 2, both in the last quarter. Hunter kicking a couple. Scott West, no surprise, Jared, topping the charts. A lazy 39 here this afternoon.
He's had a great year. Whether or not he gets a Brownlow medal to, I guess, justify his greatness this season is up to the lap of the gods. There's been plenty of great players so far this season, but he has had just a wonderful year. And the Bulldogs are having a wonderful season. I don't think there are too many people came here thinking the Bulldogs could win this match. I think everybody thinks they were going to be put in a credible display. But they took the Eagles on at their own game. They matched them up. They went head-to-head. They came in with a running side, and in the end, they just wanted it more than the Eagles. And the Eagles have got some issues now. Without Cox, they are on a run where they're probably where their scoreline, I think, flatters where they're actually are.
And Peter Spider-Everett probably to return next week. From a Hawthorn perspective, they'll play the Hawks at the MCG. Jared spoke about the run of the Bulldogs. Lindsay Gilbey provides plenty of it. He had 29 touches today. Here he is with Michael Thompson.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, Lindsay, the Eagles have pulled off some remarkable comebacks and snatched 2 big wins in the last 6 weeks. How are you feeling in that last quarter?
Oh yeah, it was pretty tiring towards the end. I only had a few minutes off the ground, but it was the ball was coming down a bit, and the crowd kind of get them up and going, and it was certainly hard in that last quarter, that's for sure.
I want to talk about just how confident the Bulldogs were. The Eagles seemingly are invincible here. They haven't been beaten by a Victorian team in 4 years. How confident were you before the game?
Oh, we were very confident. I guess their lead-up games towards the bye, I guess they weren't playing up to their usual standards, but we were really confident. We match up well against them, and it was just great to get over the line in the end. That siren, I've never felt a final siren to go like that before.
Lindsay, congratulations. Clinton and Jared upstairs. Look, the bookmakers still don't respect you by way of the premiership favouritism. I reckon you respect each other down there, and there's a fair bit of confidence in the group. How far can you go?
Well, everyone keeps writing us off week in, week out. They reckon our injury is going to hurt us, but I guess I was out of the 27 tipsters this week, only 2 tipped us and 25 tipped against us. So we're confident we can let teams think what they want about us, but we're just going to come out and play our own game, and that's what we did today.
Lindsay, can you just expand a little bit more on how it feels to be an opposition player out on the ground when the Eagles get on that roll and the supporters just create an atmosphere that's unparalleled in too many places?
Yeah, it gets pretty hostile. When we kick a goal, we don't even get nothing. So, and that's our aim. Our aim on every interstate trip is to silence the crowd, and I think if we do that, I guess it might take some umpiring decisions out the way and might take the momentum away from them.
Well, that's right. You've turned into a good team now away from home. You've won 3 of your last 4 after being horrible, 2 of 22 before that. Talk to us about how hot it was out there today. 23 degrees was the air temperature. I imagine, having come from Melbourne, it would have felt a lot more.
Yeah, no, it felt probably about 30 degrees, to be honest. It was it was a dry heat as well. I guess we haven't played in that this year as well, so it was something different, but the boys encountered it really well. Our hydration was great, and it was just a fantastic effort by all the guys. A great team win.
One of the rewards, of course, is singing that song down in the rooms. I suspect you haven't sung it with as much vigour for a long time, Lindsay.
I guess that's the biggest circle I've ever had since I've been at the club. Rocket wanted everyone in, and Daniel Jones for kiss about an idiot. But yeah, no, it was the biggest crowd circle we've had certainly since my time at the club. And Rocket's not normally like that. I guess he was pretty emotional after this win.
You should have seen him in the last couple of minutes.
One bloke who wasn't in the circle, a board member of yours, Henry Jolson, he would have loved to have been there. He's facing his own battles. He would have been buoyed by your victory.
Oh, I think, yeah, Henry is struggling with cancer at the moment, and we'll dedicate this win to Henry and all our supporters who travelled over as well. And it was a great effort, and yeah, all our wishes are with Henry, and he'll pull through. He's got all the support of the club and the players.
At 29 years of age, did you expect Brad Johnson to become one of the AFL's leading goal kickers?
Brad is just an unbelievable player. I guess for the people who don't know out there, he's just one of the hardest workers, and he's so strong. Certainly one player I wouldn't like to play on. He's such a good player and such a team player, and a guy who just gives his all every week, and you don't get less than a 6 out of 10 out of Brad every week. And he's such a consistent player, and he's been for so long.
I think one other guy that struggles to get the respect or the attention, I suppose, from the wider football world is Daniel Cross. You've got a lot of superstar midfielders with big reputations. Crossy just does his work, and once again he's dragged down a pretty good player.
Yeah, no, Crossy's just, his engine is enormous. He's got great running ability, and I guess people don't really rate him, but last year he broke the record in handball, so he gets the ball a lot of times per week, and he gets it to the guys who can really use it, and he's a vital cog in our side. He's really important.
Fair to say you're going to enjoy the flight home. Lindsay, congratulations. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Lindsay Gilby down there. We've flown home with a lot of losing Victorian teams, Jared, over the years from this ground. So we might sit next to Rodney Eade on the way home this evening as we have a look at some of the highlights from the second half. The Western Bulldogs began the second half with the narrowest of leads, 4-8 to 4-7, but they've shown this year when they're in front at half-time, they're tough to top. 7-0 now when leading at half-time. Wade Skipper turned that lead to 7 points in the opening minute. Then he was involved in helping set up Brad Johnson, leading into the pocket, gets the free kick against Nikoski. Johnson threaded it from a tight angle. It was 2 goals in 3 minutes, became 3 goals in 6 minutes when Cooney goaled. They had to start that third quarter well, Jared, and they did.
Well, you could just see the energy levels of the two sides was probably the greatest difference was just after half-time. The Eagles, we've seen so many times, find some energy in the second half, and this Bulldogs outfit exposed the fact that they weren't giving 100%. I think John Worsfold will be pretty armed with some material to go forward with. They weren't working for each other like they have done when they're playing their best footy, and they got given a great example of how to do that by the Bulldogs today.
Rowan Smith kicked the last goal of that third term. The margin was 23 points at the last change. Bulldogs kicked 4 goals to none in that third term. The Eagles have proven to be the escape artists this year, and that man, one of the reasons why. Andrew Embley goaled 4 minutes into the term, and the margin was back to 19 points. Johnson would goal at the other end to take it back out to 25, but you knew the Eagles were going to come with something.
Well, I think we've all come to expect that. They're such an honest team, but honesty only gets you to some level. If you're not in your head ready to go, as it looked as if the Eagles weren't today, then they're eventually going to stumble and fall, as they have done. But even with the likes of the Cousins and Judd sparking them to some degree in that last quarter, they were just too far behind and up against the side who was just working too well together.
This is where they did work hard. Kerr to the goal square, Staker doing well, getting it on to Selwood. He got boot to ball quickly. It's back to 19 points.
And at that stage, I reckon you thought that the Eagles would get across the line.
Yep, and then the Bulldogs started to go defensive. The Eagles' momentum built. Andrew Embley would soon have them within 11 points when he kicked his second halfway through the quarter. Good mark heading into the front of the pack.
Well, they had to find people to take overhead marks because there was so crowded up in that forward line that it required an Embley to put together some extraordinary events to get the score.
This was a big goal. On the rebound, Bulldogs under siege at this point. Open forward line because everyone's flooded back. Great vision from Eagleton here. Yep. Out of the corner of his eye, he spots Montgomery.
And this would have been the plan. The Dogs dropped blokes back. They knew that the Eagles would go with them, so it was going to be a crowded forward line. And they just put Robbins in the goal square to get Wirrapunda away.
Still,
it's an issue that the Eagles are going to have to address.
Yep, still the Eagles wouldn't be denied. They'd come again. Darren Glass with just the 7th goal of his 109-game career at his first of this season.
We sung his praises right throughout the day. He's one of the fullbacks in the competition, but just not enough. And the reason was that midfield, I think that the Dogs just dominated.
Ended up with 402 possessions overall, the Bulldogs, as we have a look at their top 10. 235 kicks, that's 32 more than the Eagles, and 167 hand passes, which were 15 more than the Eagles, and again the familiar names at the top.
And I think the other thing that stood out today was the disparity between the skill level of the Western Bulldogs kicking and that of the West Coast Eagles. They've got a lot of skilled players, but under the pressure that the Bulldogs put them under today, their kicking skills were exposed to some degree.
Look at the second name on the list. In a team with the most vaunted midfield in the league, it was Quentin Lynch, who got a lot of his footy a long way from goal. Chris Judd averages 26 a game. He was down to 22. Cousins averages 24 a game. He's down at 22 as well. And there are a couple of others that were just down on their season's average, including, you don't see the name, Daniel Kerr in that list either. Just 16 possessions, 8 and 8.
Yeah, he lifted. I mean, he's really struggling at the moment to some degree because he's just getting the major tag. I think the competition really respects his potential, the damage that he can create. He does set a lot of the runners free, and he's getting plenty of attention.
It keeps alive for other clubs in that top bracket. The top 2, we shouldn't write it off automatically now as to say, well, there's going to be a final for the Crows at home in the opening week and a final for the Eagles as well. It's still very much alive with 9 rounds to go.
And that'll be the biggest cost to the West Coast Eagles today, if in fact this loss means they lose that opportunity to guarantee a home final throughout the first couple of weeks of the finals by dropping out of the top 2 positions. It is something that they may live to regret.
They will now be a game behind the Adelaide Crows and a fair chunk of percentage as well. We spoke about the Bulldogs and their good interstate record now. Well, if they play this ground, well, maybe sell some home games here. David Smorgan, the president of the club, downstairs with Tomo.
Well, David Smorgan, what can you say about that?
Fantastic. What a team. Full credit to our boys. I mean, unfortunately, Sean Higgins went down early in the first quarter, and I think he's got a fractured elbow. And, you know, to play with 21 on this big oval, and we took it right up to them. I think there are about 137 Bulldog people fans in the ground, and there were 40,000 Eagle supporters. And it's just great. We're the first Victorian club to win over here since 2002, and I'm sure all the Bulldog fans back home would be mighty proud of the red, white and blue.
There's a lot of word out that this was going to be a real shootout, that the Bulldogs were very, very confident of winning this game. Were you confident before the game?
Oh, I'm always confident, Michael, but that doesn't mean much. No, look, our form's been pretty good, and frankly, the Eagles' form hasn't been too flash. They've got home in the last couple of games after being goals behind. I know they've had the break, we've had the break. We were fresh, we were fit for the challenge, and it's just great that we're now aiming around top 4. We've got a couple of big games coming up, Kangaroos and then Carlton. So I urge all the Bulldog fans to get out of EMCG next Sunday and cheer our team on.
What about Rodney Eade? He's just done such a great job since he's come in.
Yes, he's doing a very good job, and the players are listening to his instructions. They're playing for Rodney, they're playing for the team. And I think today, I mean, we were criticised, or commentators have got great respect for our tenacity and our spirit because we are short. We're playing a couple of guys out of their positions. But I thought to a man, they all stood up today, and some of the individual efforts, they were just superb. But again, it's the 22 guys working together. That's what got us home.
David Smorgan, you've had a big week. Congratulations on a great win.
It's ended up all right. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. I'd like to get the 16 presidents in a circle, chuck a footy in the middle. Right now, I'd back David Smorgan to get it. He's pumped.
Yes, he is pumped. He looks like he's had a very enjoyable lunch as well. But he's going to enjoy the flight home. I just wonder when David talks about the tools. I mean, Luke Darcy's a great player. We all know that. But where would they be if they had all of these players available? Because maybe they wouldn't be any better off.
Luke Darcy, we know he's watching now, our Fox footy. And,
no, you know what I mean. It's a question of they may not have played any better football. Yeah. They would have played different football.
Yes.
But would they have been, in wins and losses, in a better position?
And the challenges that it presents for the other players, and players who have stepped up and answered those challenges, given others a go, including Sean Higgins, 18 years of age, just his 5th senior game today. But as we've heard, he's going to be spending some time on the sideline. The dislocated elbow, he was taken to hospital after this knock during the course of the second term. Had a pretty stern body there in Drew Banfield.
The problem with injuries, obviously, is that eventually they do get you.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's in round 19 or in round 22, you're just getting so much work out of so few players that you expect that it's going to catch up with the Dogs at some stage. But we've been saying that for a long time, and as yet the kennel master can't put a net on them.
The Eagles have been getting their own injuries, as we know. Chris Judd just returning from that hamstring strain, and Dean Cox. Well, it sounds like it's a serious injury, doesn't it? At this stage, the suspected broken collarbone after that clash with Adam Cooney. And, well, forget about the betting for the Brownlow and everything else. This West Coast Eagles team hasn't been travelling all that well despite winning in the last 6 to 7 weeks. He's a huge reason why, aren't they? Glad they've had a game into Michael Gardner.
Well, those people that are questioning whether Michael Gardner's here for the long or the short term, I think will think a whole lot differently about it now. Michael Gardner now is... he's going to have to step up. Mark Seavey will get another run next week, you expect, after getting a full run in the waffle. But it's a big blow. I mean, it is a massive blow to the West Coast, and they can only hope now whether that it's a 4-weeker instead of a 6 or 8 that needs pinning, etc.
Since that loss to the Dockers here 8 weeks ago now, they've gone 5-3, the Eagles. All of the 5 wins have been tough, hard fought, up for grabs or behind. Not exactly premiership commanding betting wise form at this stage.
No, they've lost. I think the loss of Phil Matera means that they have lost the ability to win easily, because Phil Matera was such a natural goal kicker. Ashley Sampi, another natural goal kicker, not in the side at the moment. So they have to work really hard to generate goals. But I think that's their lot at the moment, and I expect that they'll get it together and they'll be pushing deep into the finals again. It is just one loss, but it is one that probably continues to ask those questions.
And a pat on the back for Stephen Armstrong today, who played his first game in a West Coast jumper, came in for Michael Braun, who was a late withdrawal. The former Demon was delisted at the end of last year, worked hard to get onto the Eagles rookie list, got a promotion, had 15 touches today. Jared and I are going to stick around for our digital subscribers. Press red now to stay with us for the press conferences. What a day. Bulldogs home by 9 points. We'll see you soon.